Mia, do you think EliteAri knows what an Inazuma kick is yet?
No, I don't think he does. I think he's kind of a fake fan.
Can you remember we had this whole conversation? I tried to get him to watch all the outros of the great Gunbuster, and he came back, and then I said, EliteAri, shut up, EliteAri, you haven't been introduced yet. And I said, do you know what it is? And he said, I don't even remember what you're talking about. He didn't even remember the climax of the great episode 4 or 5 or one of them. It was embarrassing. So, EliteAri, if you want to introduce yourself, you can answer the question.
So what did you call the kick? Say it again.
Inazuma kick.
See, even in my mind now that I've seen Diebuster, I thought it was something else. Like they called it something else. I did.
Do have a different name for it, but we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
But in the first episode, now we're not speaking about any of the events of the first episode, so don't be opening your mouth. When she does do it, she does say Inazuma kick. So.
Yes.
And then they say it again later.
Yep.
Oh, so you know what it is. What
you know, it only took me a few like rewatches of certain scenes and I figured it all out, but yep. Amazing.
Oh, rewatches. I have rewatched I can't remember because in one of them they call, when they do it together, the super Inazuma kick, and then the other one they call it the double. Now I don't remember which is which, but whichever one the Gunbuster one is, I have watched 70,000 times. So it's pretty epic. Now the voice acting, you know, old 80s style and stuff. But anyway, now that we've yelled at EliteAri, first of all, here we are to review the great Diebuster. We did Gunbuster before. You can go and watch that episode. I'm sure it's in the description. Everybody's very excited. We're back here with Mia and Ari. They were the same people that were here last time, so we don't need to do intros and shit. Yeah, get on it, you idiot audience. Pick up. Mia, now you need to talk into it. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Now, EliteAri, you might not be aware of this, but the date's right here because I got a great screenshot. The 5th of the 10th, 2024 at 8:51 a.m. for my time. EliteAri, you won't believe this at all. Mia messages me, breaking our cardinal first rule. He says, I can't believe Diebuster has stands. No way she just ripped off her shirt and immediately which I think he meant went, into a lightning kick. This is beyond parody. And then EliteAri, I show my integrity by yelling, Mia, you're breaking rule number 1. We cannot speak about this until the recording session. And Mia quickly apologized and said, oops. And then I said, my goodness gracious me. But it's great that you've started. I can now pressure EliteAri into hurrying up. Can you believe this, EliteAri?
This is so heartbreaking. I can't believe it. How could you do this to me? This is all
I was
terrible.
just so taken away by the beauty of Diebuster.
Yep. Well,
spoilers. We're not allowed to talk about what we think about it yet. But that's all I know about Mia's opinion, all right? He kept it to himself after that. Now, also, that piece of shit EliteAri, Miller the Killer, was also messaging me things. But I did not engage in conversation. But I do have his messages for later, which we are going to either agree with or laugh at. But no spoilers. Now, Mia, I forget, do you have any idea? You watch our Chainsaw Man discussion, so you know we're always referencing this idiot Miller. So you're vaguely familiar, right? Okay. So we don't have to go through the rundown. Anyway, always very opinionated, funny things this fella believes, but we'll get into that later. So besides all that, besides yelling at my co-hosts and stuff, we're back. We're here to talk about it. But before we talk about it, of course, we've got to go through my monologue of background information to catch us all up. So last time we had the great Gunbuster. You guys remember Gunbuster? Crazy.
What a series.
Yes. EliteAri liked it the most. Now, I will say in preparation for this, I have watched Diebuster once. I have, in fact, watched Diebuster twice. I have, in fact, re-listened to our whole discussion, which I did earlier today while playing Pokemon's Legends Arceus. What a great video game. And I have re-listened. I even found, and this was difficult to do, I found the stream in which Ari watched the Steven video where Mia was in chat and rewatched that in case there was anything funny in there. And I think I did make one note from that. So I've rewatched them all. I'm caught up on what everybody thought back in the day. Now, we will get updated thoughts on Gunbuster when we get to the beginning of the overall thoughts section. But anyway, we've got background on this, and we got to speak about it. So, oh no, never mind. I put it here. My first note in background is, have our opinions on Gunbuster changed in the months since? Now, I thought we did Gunbuster like last month. It turns out we did it in July, so that's crazy. Now, Mia, you were saying you were going to rewatch it after you watched the Steven portion of the video, further talking about the how Gunbuster was kind of a parody and stuff. So did you end up rewatching it, Mia? And did your mind change about anything, et cetera, anything about whatever I just talked about?
I did, actually. Yeah, I rewatched, and I definitely had a different feeling about it, knowing that it was kind of more intentionally parody. And that actually kind of shaped how I went into Diebuster as well. thinking about it as parody rather than, you know, a product of the time, I guess. Well, you know, it is, but it kind of takes it a little bit out of its time, I feel like, when it's being parody and being referential. So yeah, I think I liked Gunbuster a lot more the second way through.
Yeah, it's interesting because last time, because again, I did re-listen to the discussion, EliteAri was the highest on Gunbuster. I think he settled on a 9 at the end. We can get his thoughts on whether or not that's changed or something at the end of my little rant here. Mia is definitely on the latter end, I think. I was closer to Mia than Ari. I think Mia settled on a 7. I think I settled on an 8. But yeah, so that's interesting. I haven't actually fully rewatched Gunbuster. Ari, I assume you haven't either?
Yep, that's correct.
No, he said yep, and then said that's correct. Like he's just fucking with me or something. But so EliteAri, have you've Gunbusters 2 months ago? Have you thought over it and been like, man, that was shit?
Yeah. So after our discussion, I did.
Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies. I settled on giving it a 5 out of 5 and ranking it as like my 5th or 6th best thing I've seen this year, I think, in my digest. I think it absolutely still stands there. I really, really like it. The more I think about it, it's just like, yeah, I don't think I was going to say the more I think about it, the more I appreciate it, but not really. I think I just like perfectly analyzed it the first time through, you know? I have a perfect opinion of it.
Perfectly appreciated it the first time.
Yeah,
you need a ego like Mia.
For instance, when I think of it, I think, wow, it had some really cool sci-fi stuff. Wow, it looked really cool. It had some cool directing. Wow, remember that last episode? It was like black and white and had like cool like sci-fi stuff, and they like traveled in the future and stuff. And oh my gosh, remember Coach? How cool was Coach? And like, there's a lot of really good things that I like for it, basically. Yeah, Coachy. Sorry, yeah.
Coachy was the worst part. I don't know why you like him, but
yeah, I was about to say, don't remind me about him. My score's gonna go down again.
Yeah, true.
I will say also, I think the more I've thought about Gunbuster, I'm like, oh, man, Gunbuster was so cool. What are we talking about here? So it seems like everybody's had this. So, you know, it grows on you, I guess you can write. That's a tagline for Gunbuster when we re-release it. When we make our anime label in a few years, we'll say Gunbuster, it grows on you. Remember when the DBZ box sets had bigger, longer, and uncut on it, and it was like a penis joke? That was hilarious. Remember that, EliteAri?
No.
You're an idiot. Now, anyway, so that's our catch up on Gunbuster. We just love it so much going into Diebuster. This is crazy. Oh my god, I feel like you guys weren't impressed enough at the fact that I've seen Diebuster twice, but we'll talk about that in a sec.
You've had plenty of time to do that.
So true! What a great point to bring up, EliteAri. I watched Diebuster like a month and a half ago, and then earlier this week I rewatched it because we were getting closer to the recording date. Mia, you finished it probably like a week ago or so?
Yeah, about.
I'm a genius. I can figure all this stuff out. And EliteAri, I'm assuming you finished it like last night.
Yep, pretty much.
So it's freshest in your mind. You don't need notes. This is crazy. But anyway, so now we've got the great Wikipedia cutout segments where I read a little paragraph here. Well, this worked last time, so it's going to work this time. Diebuster, also known as Aim for the Top 2 or Topunare Su. That makes sense. Now, and Gunbuster 2 is a 6-episode original video animation OVA series directed by Kazuna Tsurumaki, written by Yoji Inokido, and animated by Gainax. It was created to commemorate the studio's 20th anniversary in 2004 and is a sequel to their 1988 OVA Gunbuster. So important to point out there is that we have a new writer and a new director. Hideaki Anno has, I was going to say no credits on this, but that's not true. He has some storyboarding credits, which is very interesting. Now, Hideaki Anno, the Diebuster rather, I'm not going to be the first or the last to fuck that up this fucking recording session, I can guarantee you that. Gunbuster probably goes into production in maybe 2002. I'm sure you could actually look that up. Now, Anno leaves Gainax before, maybe in like 2005, because the first rebuild, which is the Evangelion rebuilds, which is like the remakes of Eva, which is not done by Gainax, it's done by Anno's own Studio Kara. The first movie comes out in 2007, and I assume it took a few years to make. So he leaves around the time this comes up. So I guess he was maybe around to do some storyboarding still at the studio around this time, which is interesting. Now, the director of the new director, which is Tsurumaki, he also co-directs all the rebuild films. So I guess obviously, Diebuster finished production before that. Now, this guy, Tsurumaki here, he's the Fooly Cooly guy, EliteAri. Calm down, stop throwing fists. EliteAri famously hates Fooly Cooly, thinks it's terrible. He's sort of known as Anno's... Go ahead, EliteAri, you got something else to say?
I was going to say, yep, true.
No, that's what he said. He's widely known as the protege of Hideaki Anno. He also directed some original episodes of Evangelion, and also in the end of Eva, famously split into 2 basically episodes within a movie. It's got a 5-minute credit scene in the middle to the great fuck, I forget the song's name, but it's a great name. It's not the song you're thinking of. He directs the whole first half of that movie, which EliteAri is the part with the great Asuka fight scene that you love so much. So, take that. You're shit talking him, but you love him. Whereas Anno did the second half. So that's, he started at Gainax on Nadia, which was, I think, the anime they did before Eva. It's a TV anime, Nadia Secret of Blue Water or whatever, which is after Gunbuster. He's done a bunch of other things too, like he did Fooly Cooly. He directs all the episodes of Gunbuster. He did the Ava rebuilds, and he's done the Dragon Dentist or Dentrist. I don't know. It's small on my screen. I can't see what the word is exactly. It's like a 2017 thing. So he's done other things too. So Anno is not directing. This guy is. A lot of people seem to say, like, oh yeah, it's pretty obvious, bro. If you've seen Fooly Cooly, that's the Fooly Cooly guy. Now the writer is not an Gainax exclusive guy, whereas like Anno and Tsurumaki kind of are. He has written a bunch of different TV shows. He did do some of the scripts for the TV show Ava. He's done Sailor Moon scripts, EliteAri. He's done Revolutionary Girl Utena scripts.
Love it.
He wrote some of the episodes of Fooly Cooly. He's written some Razafan episodes. I know you're a big fan of EliteAri. And then a bunch of other things. Oran High School Host Club, Redline, Captain Earth, Bungo Stray Dogs, and The Dragon Dentist, or whatever that show is. So it looks like they collaborated on that. He also has written a 3-volume novelization of Fooly Cooly. This is crazy.
Jesus.
But anyway, these are the 2 fellas. There's a little bit of background there. If you've noticed some directorial differences, or maybe not, because this guy's Anno's protege, maybe they just look not dissimilar, similar. That's a word. Who knows? We'll talk about all this when we get into it. But anyway, Gainax has changed since 1998, is my little note here. Anno does some storyboarding credits on this one, but he has limited involvement, and it's the Fooly Cooly guy that helms this. I think... Oh, this is kind of important, because I think last time, I don't know if either of you remember this, I was like teasing, maybe we'll do Gunbuster throughout a discussion. And I think at some point I said that Gunbuster, it seems like isn't actually a direct sequel and is just sort of a retelling. Obviously, that's funny in retrospect. I don't know, when we talk about the things, you guys can bring up whether or not you remembered that and whether or not you went in with that mindset, because I certainly did. And obviously that leads to a kind of funny viewing experience. But anyway, my last note here is I've watched Gunbuster twice. And now the last thing about background, which is actually about the show, is that last time we talked about the release schedule of Gunbuster and how each 2 episodes sort of came out at the same time and how that sort of reflected in the arcs. You guys didn't know that till I brought that up, and it was interesting to sort of recontextualize that afterwards. Every single episode of Diebuster, according to Wikipedia, came out months apart. So if we look at Episode 1, Please Let Me Call You Big Sister, Oni-sama, this is great. This is November 26th, 2004. Then the next one is February 2005, then June 2005, then October 2005, then March 2006, then August 2006. So that's just about 2 years of release schedule. I have no idea how it was released. Knowing how notorious the early 2000s DVD market is, it wouldn't be surprising if they sold each episode for $70 on DVD, because that was the prices and shit for shit back then, which is crazy. So maybe that's how, and maybe I should have researched that a little bit more before we got here, but I didn't. So that's an interesting release schedule. Unlike us, who just watched it all in a very brief period of time, all in one moment. Anything to say about my background monologues, you two, or should we move on to overall thoughts?
I got nothing.
Yeah, we can move
on. Okay. Oh, I was going to take a drink, but I guess I'll put my goddamn drink down. Background. So that's background. EliteAri, when you're doing timestamps, now we're in overall thoughts.
Oh, boy.
So now we are at the great Diebuster. Can you believe it? And I think this is where I say I've spoken too much, and we choose a victim to go first. Now this is going to be crazy. I think I did Ari last time, so should I do me this time, or should I do EliteAri? Or EliteAri, what did you think about Diebuster?
All right, so Diebuster, it was an experience. Okay, the first.
That's
what can I say? Overall, okay, no, the first episode, I was like, this is not good. I was like, I'm not gonna like this show. This is really not good. And as the show went on, I think I warmed up to a little bit. I think overall, I think it sits at like it was good. Like I'm happy I watched it. I would never watch this again. It doesn't have any of the charm of Gunbuster at all. And if you didn't tell me it was related to Gunbuster, I would be like, this has absolutely nothing to do with Gunbuster. It doesn't feel like the same world, doesn't feel like the same even people behind it who are making it. Like it doesn't physically look like it. I don't know. So it wasn't for me. But you know what? I'm glad I watched it. So there you go.
Okay, interesting. Mia, you're up next.
Yeah, I had a very similar reaction. I mean, obviously, I was so taken aback by the first episode. I messaged Kyle also just to tell him that I started, basically. But I feel like if Gunbuster was kind of like a like referential and parody of that time, then it felt like Diebuster was just parodying Gunbuster, and it wasn't really saying anything new. Like the fact that it's kind of like an anniversary project to, you know, add on to Gunbuster, that I think that's pretty clear. It doesn't feel like it was like a story in that universe that needed to be told to an extent. And I think my opinion kind of changed on that near the end. But at least, you know, the initial impression to me was that, you know, this is not a new take in the Gunbuster world. It is just kind of more, and it felt like it's not really saying anything new. And in fact, I think it was missing a lot of the elements in Gunbuster that I found really interesting, that really stood out to me. But that was kind of because of the plot and setting, and we'll talk a bit more about it when we get into, you know, how it actually connects to Gunbuster.
Interesting. Okay. Alita, now this isn't really a question for Mia, because I wouldn't expect you to have an answer for this. EliteAri, last time you said, oh, Kyle's gonna love Gunbuster, you know, he loves it, you know, this is everything he likes. I just heard you say this. So you said like, oh, it's got a female protagonist, it's old, it was Hideaki Anno-ified. So you're like, oh, you're gonna love this. So do you think I'm building up to a massive subversion here where I say I love Gunbuster or Diebuster more than Gunbuster? What do you think I think about this is my question here.
So there's one thing which kind of, firstly, okay, let me just say, I think you love this, but there's one thing that really undermines the fact that I think you love it, which is that it does not look like an 80s anime. It looks like a modern anime in terms of the art style. And I know how much you hate modern looking anime. So that could turn you off the entire thing as possible. But I think you really like it because it's got a girl as the main character. She rips her top off in the first episode and you think that's really subversive and stuff and kind of cool and feminism and stuff. I know how much you love all that.
Not subversive, but okay.
I'm sure there's a way you can say it's subversive. What else is there? It's like, it's funny. I know how much you love your comedy. And I think you get the gist of it. I think you like it a lot, but maybe the art style subtracts. But go ahead, Kyle. What do you actually think?
Well, EliteAri, you would be completely at 150%. Let's read what Miller thought about this, because my goodness, did he have some funny things to say? And I have his whole thing here. Now, Miller opinion. Now, we haven't talked about most of this yet, and I did plan to do this later, but I think the build-up is funny. Miller says, no die. This is his first message to me. No dying is kind of trash, goes against the whole point. What a Miller statement, EliteAri.
Wait, what? Wait, I don't even know what he's saying there. What does that even mean?
Well, no dies at the end, and that's against the point, EliteAri. I said we're not going to expound on things. We can come back to this later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm just crazy. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe that's why I don't like the show. I didn't understand it, you know?
Well, we'll get back to this in a second. And then Miller says, didn't you say you forgot the whole thing? Because I responded something, and I said, I'm not allowed to talk about this. I'm smart. I thought this is Miller. I'm smart. I thought the new space monsters looked like shit, and that was part of the twist. Also, No perfectly splitting the black hole like the plates was cute, but it's worse than Gunbuster in every way. Never plays the opening, never plays an insert song, doesn't have escalating threats. Each episode, Tycho does pretty much nothing after her first episode. Cassio being chill and Nicola being the rapist was a nice reversal, true. The thing about... Hold on, we've only got a few more left. Everybody calm down. The thing about... Also, EliteAri, these fucking idiots, both of the M's, Miller and Minty, always mad that we misrepresent their points, so, we're reading the whole thing. The thing about not needing external titles or ability to work hard was well done. But the other thing of No and... Now, how the fuck do you say the princess's name? We'll never know. Lalic?
I think it's Lauk.
Lauk. That does sound better. Both trying to sacrifice themselves alone and then learning to work with each other, putting each other's lives on the line is completely ruined with No dying, so shitty. Also, it was obvious, but the reveal where she says Ko is so well done. I saw people say the ending of Diebuster is so genius, but it's like the most obvious sequel-prequel scene that you see coming from a mile away. You're definitely dumb if you like Diebuster more. Gunbuster is just so good, man. Episode 2 and 3 being complete failure and despair, only for 4, 5, and 6 to complete victories. 3. EliteAri, Diebuster is obviously the first 10 out of 10 I've seen in about 3 years. It's like the greatest anime I've ever seen of all time. It's so great. You both are morons. Miller is a moron. The entire internet seems to like this shitty Gunbuster more. It's embarrassing.
Right.
The ending was maybe the best ending of anything of all time. I never knew I had so much nostalgia for Gunbuster. Every single callback, I was freaking the fuck out. Episode 3 might be the greatest episode of anime of all time. I've rewatched it like 3 times. I've written a script on it already that ties into a Madoka Magica thing, EliteAri. Don't worry, you'll see that video soon. Just, my goodness, it's the greatest thing of all time.
Okay, well, can I cut in for a second, actually? Because as you were describing the Miller stuff and as you were giving your opinion here, I think I should make it very clear that I do think that I've missed a lot of this. Yeah, because there's 2 reasons for this. One of them is
it was just
character names. There were a lot of character names that I didn't quite track, so that always hinders my experience.
Well, yeah, I never got those. I had to do that a second time to get those. Stuff.
Yeah, and there was a second thing. What was it? What confused me? Oh, the topless. The idea of topless confused me. I guess I got it eventually in the end. But for a long time,
the joke in the history of anime.
No, I understood the joke. Okay, it's a very simple joke. Okay, but what they were confused me until I guess toward the end. But yeah, I think I may have missed some stuff, but we'll see as we go on, I guess.
Maybe we should do a whole plot recap. I do have a typed out thing here. Oh, I just have Ari liked the music written down because that's something you said last time, and I think that's something I got. But anyway, so we can get rid of that. I can't... Why does it say I can't believe me? Oh, I can't believe me. I like Diebuster much better. It seems like the internet doesn't like it as much, and it feels very old internet true, but I don't really want to talk about that right now. It looks so modern for a 2004 show. This show looks insane. It absolutely looks like every modern anime, which is crazy when you think of it.
Yeah.
Like, Razafan came out like a year before this, which is a great show. We love the great Razafan here. It's kind of like an Ava clone Mia. I always talk to Ari about it, so I'm expecting him to know what it is. Like Naruto would still be in like 4x3 for like the next 4 years, and this is like this wide screen thing, and the CGI mostly looks really good, and it looks like the Ava rebuilds, and it's like fucking insane how like what this show looks like. It literally looks like a 2018 anime in 2004 when like, and it's like in the art style that eventually became really popular, but not for like 10 years. It's like crazy.
That is shocking to me. I did not realize this was 2004. Like, obviously it's older, but wow. Yeah, no.
It's crazy. I'm telling you. But I guess a better comparison would be like a 2004 anime movie, which I honestly haven't seen any of. The only ones I would have seen would have been like Pokemon movies, which I'm almost certain would also be in... No, there's no way the movies are in 4x3. Some of those Pokemon movies do look good, so probably not this good, though. Diebuster looks incredible. I will say a thing we kind of all agreed on last time was that the characters were not the most remarkable, and I think Nono and Tycho are like 2 of my favorite characters in anything, and they both come from the show, so I think like it's a massive step up for me in that department. Something that Mia, you talked about a lot in the last one, and I never picked up on it until now. And then everything about you made sense to me. The limited things I know about you, because you said in the last episode, not last episode, last discussion, you were talking about the it felt like it had something to say. You said that a few times, and then you said it again in the intro here, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm a genius. I've got this fella figured out. And then I'm like, oh, if Mia really values like having something to say and being interesting thematically and stuff, oh my god, have I got the best series for him ever? The Great Vinland Saga, and everything like made sense. Oh my god, that's why Mia loves Vinland Saga so much. But anyway, I don't care about that at all. Themes are lame, so I didn't care that we were just reiterating the same points. So what have we gone over? Greatest characters of all time. No, literally. When are we making her my profile picture, etc., etc. She's a robot. Can you believe it? Taiko has the single greatest single episode arc in anime history in episode 3. We'll talk about it. How do we say it, Mia? Lalek? Lalk, of course. She was pretty good. Cassio was pretty good. That's the fat dude. Then we've got, I forget the other one's name. Mia had it down here. Nicola, he was raping. We don't like that. We had those twins. They were a little weird. Who else do we have? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We got the 2 best characters of all time in Diebuster, so that characters are obviously the most important. EliteAri are a genius. It was hilarious throughout. It was genius and great. And again, all these callbacks. Every single time I was freaking the fuck out. I was like, oh my god, I didn't know I loved Gunbuster this much. Every time they'd do the pose, they'd do the kick, they'd like each episode basically mirrors the first the first show in like plot beats when they're trying to duel or whatever, and there's a million things. I actually haven't written them all down, so hopefully you remember a bunch of them. I thought all of that was great. What else do I have written down here? So much so that when I'm not I'm talking about the aesthetic here still, which is something I should hate, but I don't. True, modern anime sucks, but Diebuster is the best. What the hell? I think the ending is fantastic, but we'll get to that later. True, what a great ending. The OP is a top 5 OP of all time.
No
that
Wait, really?
I played it. I played it in my stream, like every stream for like 20 streams in a row. It was the intro song. At 1 hour and 20 minutes into our Gunbuster discussion, EliteAri says the Gunbuster OP was groovy, and I nearly fell out of my seat because, of course, the Diebuster OP is called Groovy Magic. Not only is it the greatest OP of all time, EliteAri, it is on my YouTube fucking, what do you call the YouTube music, and I listen to it in the shower all the time. What a great song. Fan service on a level I've not seen before. I can't believe I was this susceptible to Gunbuster nostalgia. Truly incredible. Now, EliteAri, because I was being a little contrarian at the beginning here, I did declare it a 10 out of 10. I have since been I've been thinking, is it a 9? Is it a 10? I am undecided a little bit. It's very similar to how I thought when I watched when I read. Which one did I just read, EliteAri? Goodbye Eerie? That's the one I just read, right?
Yep.
That was like 3 months ago. But I feel very similarly, where I'm like, is it a 9? Is it a 10? We'll never know. But obviously it's better than Gunbuster, and obviously you're both wrong. So
all right, well we'll try and get you down to a 9, okay? We'll see.
Never. If you try, you'll succeed in pushing me the other direction. You know how this goes, EliteAri. Now, I don't really have anywhere particularly to go from here. Because I've watched it twice, I feel like we could do like episode by episode recap. I have a big dot point about the ending here, but that kind of feels wrong to go into. Does anybody have anything to respond to the things I've talked about here, or should we start with characters? Anybody got any suggestions?
We can start with characters. I think that's a good starting point.
Okay. EliteAri, you got a problem with us going into characters?
I think one thing that's probably worthwhile saying for me at this point is that I think the animation was very good. Because I know you said that, it looks very modern. I have to say it was surprisingly good. I can't believe it looked that good. So, yep, there you go.
It was very Trigger-ish to me. It reminded me a lot of watching Kill la Kill for the first time, watching Gurren Lagann.
Yes, obviously this is right before Gurren Lagann, so there's probably a lot of crossover there. And obviously Trigger, I don't know, Mia, do you know that Trigger is an offshoot of Gainax, and that's...
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I think we may have talked about that last time.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely a lot of the people that worked on this definitely worked on Gurren Lagann and then into Kill la Kill. Epic, brother, epic. Characters. So, EliteAri, why do you hate Nono? Why are you not freaking out?
Because she's like a wacky character.
You love wacky characters.
Name one wacky character I like.
So going into this, I was like, obviously they're both gonna love it, obviously. And then I started to think as we get closer to the day, like, oh, what if they don't like it? What am I gonna do? And then don't worry, I hatched a whole plan and stuff.
All right.
You know, that's why we brought Miller in. Yeah. But I did definitely think EliteAri would like No for some reason.
Let me think. Okay, so maybe I didn't understand her because I didn't understand any of this show apparently. As far as I understand,
Buster Machine number fucking 7 EliteAri, show some fucking respect.
I don't know what is interesting about her.
She's really funny and cute and cool, and she's
okay. Let me
talk about how Kyle does not care about things being interesting.
Let me make it okay. Any of the
style and substance are the same thing.
Let me say any of the comedy of her character is only a detriment in my eyes. I think her design is positive. I do like the design. I think it's a cool design. I always like anime girls with pink hair and stuff. And and the fact that she's so tall, or at least compared to the other people, I like it. I don't quite know when after she's revealed to be like a big I don't know how would you describe her? A buster machine or whatever. I don't know, whatever you'd say.
She is very much a buster machine.
Yep. After that, I was like, oh, is she a character or is she like a machine? Is she I guess I don't know. Hold on. Yeah.
So I go in and we're watching episode 1, and there's no reveal that she's a machine until then, though it's a little weird that she's Inazuma kicking a space monster with her bare foot and then it breaks in half. Genius. Also, they set that up at the beginning of the episode because she was splitting plates and fridges in half, and you're like, what's up with that? And then at the end of the whole show, she splits a black hole in half. What great setup, cool. Great writing. We love Diebuster. Hey, why is my laptop turning off? What was I in the middle of saying, EliteAri?
You didn't know she was
robot.
a machine.
So we get to episode 2, and Lalek. Go ahead, Mia. Lulk. I won't remember it. I'll remember it afterwards, but I won't remember it in the recording session. It's fine. The princess, she's just like, oh, she's a fucking robot. And then she starts twisting her leg and stuff, and Nono's like, that hurts. And it was pretty funny, and you're like, she's a robot? And then I had the moment, EliteAri, where I'm like, the AI moment. EliteAri, loves AI. Where I was like, oh, something about this, I feel less attached to her because she's a robot. But I shouldn't feel that way. That's completely illogical. Wow. Yeah. And then I'm like, but I got to remember what EliteAri taught me about AI and souls and stuff. So I've got to be like, I've got to love that she's a robot. But you hate that she's a robot.
No. You've misunderstood me. You've misunderstood me, okay? I haven't been clear enough. I had no issue after I learned that she was an AI, okay, a robot. I only started having an issue after she was revealed to be like a super powerful, oh my gosh, god gunbuster crazy robot. And I was like, oh, okay, so is she just powerful and stuff? I guess after she realized or remembered her purpose or whatever, I was like, oh, where does she go from here? And I guess I don't know where she went from there. I didn't really get anything from it, but you guys can explain it to me.
Apparently dead and you didn't realize.
Yeah, apparently she died, yeah.
Wait, what did you say, Mia?
Yeah.
Oh, she did die?
Yeah, crazy.
She sacrificed her whole self? She was so epic, and I'm just crying a little bit. Wait, so let's recap Nono in case EliteAri's. Yes, so, Nono, once upon a time, we have 4 Buster machines or something in the original show, maybe just 3. They're on the 3rd iteration. So Nono is Buster Machine 7. So she's not that far off from the great Noriko, which is important, So it would make sense that she knows her thingy, and she always wants to be like Nono Riri, crazy. I wonder who that is, bro. Which is introduced right at the beginning of the episode, the show.
She punches the dog.
Right, she's a little robot. She punched the fuck out of that dog, and then that dog got punched later, but it wasn't a bad punch because we're all laughing. It was epic. Now, the dog had his balls out, and it fell in the snow, and the balls jiggled, because Gainax is not sexist. We have titty jiggles and ball jiggles. Now, why do you let me do tangents, EliteAri? What the fuck was I saying?
We're
recapping her.
Okay, yeah.
EliteAri, she died at the end. Are you an idiot? What don't you get?
I guess I just don't remember the death scene. What was it? She
So she's got a black hole in her hand, right?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I've got to absorb the black hole so it doesn't destroy the universe.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
The solar system. And then she cuts it in half, and then she puts her hands together. Now she did that before to warp, but this time it destroys the universe or something. Who knows? And Lalek is very sad. The princess is very sad, and she says no. And then we have a fantasy thingy where she
goes into time and all that. Yeah. On Earth. Yep. Wait, what? Wait, no, I was thinking when she's looked in the window and there was the guy that she's like, we're gonna make snowmen or something. I remember that.
That's a Taiko in episode 3, the greatest episode of anime history, and completely irrelevant to this. What are you talking about?
Oh my god, what's going through my mind? I mean, I watched this all pretty quickly, but what was her thing at the end where she went through time? Or was that the? Oh my god, what am I doing? What is in my mind right now?
I don't think she goes through time.
I don't think that really
she
happened.
imagines being on Earth and watching the things, and then we do a flash forward, and they're all older, and it's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. But anyway, she died, and she was a Buster machine, and she didn't remember, but then she remembers in a moment of triumph, and then it's pretty epic.
Oh wow!
So I'm glad we've settled on Nono's character. What a great character! She's perfect. She's just so funny.
All right.
And she has the thematic resolution at every point. And when she gives Tycho the speech, and then Tycho figures it out. Now we'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about Tycho. But anyway, Mia, did you have something to say about Momo, or have we settled on
Momo? Yeah, I also enjoy.
I say Momo and Nono interchangeably, but I'm pretty sure it's a Nono.
Right? It is Nono.
Yeah, it's a Noriko.
I also enjoy stupid Moe Blob kind of characters. I think that's fun. But I genuinely think Nono is thematically a more interesting protagonist than Noriko was. I actually really like Nono. I think with Noriko, I think there was the emotion of like the connection with her father, and there was the I don't know, just the progressively getting stronger arc. But with Nono, I felt like just the idea that she was a Buster machine was just really interesting. The way that, like you said, she's like 7, and they're on like what was the number of like the most recent one?
The tennis one is 90. So yeah.
Yeah, so like, it's been a while. There's I think
12,000 years nearly.
So I think she plays really nicely into the connection to Gunbuster as well. I really liked her. I think she was awesome. Lauk, I didn't really care about as much.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about Lauk. Oh my god, I did it. 2 right now, and I guess we can save the greatest character of all time, Tycho, for a 3rd. They put Lauk in the position constantly to like be mean to Nono, and that kind of makes you dislike her. But I feel like kind of the assumption is that you're going to like her more and like forgive her for being mean. She's definitely the more like the character that is supposed to embody a lot more like self-doubt and things, because Nono is much more a Luffy-esque character of like never doubting and always believing in like that the like their own philosophy is like the guiding philosophy, which is true. It's usually reinforced by the narrative in both examples, where she just does end up being thematically right. So when she stands up and believes in herself and hard work and guts, etc., like it just wins. Whereas Lauk is supposed to be like kind of the opposite of that, and she doubts herself, and she's cut off, and she's not as funny, and she's more stoic and stuff. I don't know. I liked her good enough. She's also got the Fooly Cooly scooter or something, EliteAri. I'm sure you love that. But yeah, well, she was all right. She has the weird relationship with Nicola, where he's like manipulating her, but she's clearly into him, and that kind of gets weirdly paid off in the rape scene, where she's mad at him for not raping her, or whatever, anime.
That whole sequence was it caught me off guard, and I think I came out of it with a kind of a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't really like that part.
Like everything makes like thematic sense for what the show's trying to go for. Like, oh, he can't be a topless anymore, so he wants to be with the Buster machine. Okay, I get that. And then Nono is not beating the shit out of him, but okay. And even though she's a colossi planet-moving Buster machine, that's okay. And then, and then Lauk afterwards being upset because she liked him. That all makes sense. It's just kind of like a weird, like, this isn't really how this would go type situation. I do like how quickly they bust in and the Secret Service are there. And Nono has that one great joke where she's like, where she's eating food or whatever, and everybody's like, how the fuck did you get this food? It's from like the other side of the universe. And she's like, the nice Secret Service men do whatever they do whatever I want. Oh my god, she's the best. Anyway, Lauk, EliteAri, you hate her or what?
So in my mind, when it comes to the show, there's like 4 characters, okay? And I think they're the ones. No, I don't even think they're the ones. I couldn't possibly name them. Noriko or whatever her name is, the main character.
No, just Nono.
Yeah. Her, she's the main one. Then we have Lauk.
Just describe him for us. Yeah.
Lauk is a topless. She has a cage on her head at one point. She liked the other guy, not Robin.
She's mean, EliteAri.
What was his name?
No, I didn't want you to describe each character. I was saying if you can't remember the character's name, you can just describe him.
Oh, yes. So okay. The guy, the rape guy, I don't remember his name.
That's honestly what I call him,
fella.
Okay, and
can you believe
the
he
purple
of
hair
all
girl
people does the Gynax pose for the first he's the first character to do it in the show. Embarrassing. But anyway, what do you say? Purple hair girl? You mean the great Tycho?
Yeah, I think of all the characters, she was probably the best one. The purple hair girl.
Stop copying me, pussy.
Yeah, but on Lauk,
there's a fifth main character.
Huh? Is there? Who?
The old guy.
Who the hell's the old guy? Oh, the guy with the weird, like, sharp hat and everything?
No.
Like the guy on the ship?
Episode 2,
yeah, I liked him. He was really cool too. Yeah.
The guy with the hat in episode 2 was like the most annoying evil guy ever.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. He had a cool design and stuff. And he was very stern. I liked him, yeah.
But the rape guy became that guy at the end.
What the hell does that mean?
EliteAri didn't notice.
Yeah,
he was on his crew. He was like standing next to him as the final battle happens. And back and forth to each other.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, he remembers. We've got the great Cassio, the mechanic dude, EliteAri. He's old. He used to be a topless. He was sad about it, and he like retired.
Yeah,
I
do remember
got dismissed because he always wanted to hope that maybe he could do it at one time, and then he tries to do it that one time with before Nono's shit is revealed, and the great. Anyway, everybody, calm down. Don't worry, calm down. So there you go. You got the 5 characters, EliteAri. They were twins too. Remember that?
Oh, I like the twins. They were cool. Yeah, because they're really old and stuff, and their lips were weird.
God.
Yeah.
Boring.
They had the coolest scene, which is
and there's also a lot of other characters that aren't important at all, but you know, I'm sure we're selling figures of them, so that's what's really important around here. Name one of them, EliteAri. If I can do it, you better give me $500 because I don't think I can.
What, like a minor character?
Yeah, one of the other pilots.
I did they even say their names? I have no idea. There's no chance.
Yeah, they all had little one-piece pop-ups where their names came up.
Oh no.
And they were like, pilot of Buster Machine 37.
No, I'm not going to know. I don't know why you're asking me. There's no way.
Doesn't remember this at all. What an embarrassment.
The more I speak, the more I feel like I just don't remember. How did I watch this yesterday and I don't remember anything? I don't know. This is crazy.
Well, you watched it fast. But
Yeah,
I don't
I guess,
remember things all the time. I remember every Chainsaw Man chapter where I've forgotten the whole chapter and I get to re-experience it every video. It's fucking epic.
True.
Now, what are we up to? Are we still talking about the princess, or are we talking about the great Tycho now, Mia? You got anything to say?
I mean, this kind of goes into episode discussion. I did really like the episode with her. I felt like she was just a kind of a more in-depth take on the archetype they were going for with I don't remember her name in the first
Jun?
Gunbuster. Yes, Jun.
Young.
Just like, you know, the it's probably that. The hard exterior, you know, kind of seems mean but has a good heart kind of thing. The usual. I liked her a lot.
Now, Mia, when you started that, and I realized halfway through this was not where you were going because you haven't seen Evangelion, but I thought you were going to say a better version of Asuka from Evangelion, and I was
definitely
about to
that same archetype. I wouldn't. Yeah, obviously I would not say.
She's my favorite, obviously. Asuka from Evangelion, my favorite character of all time. EliteAri knows this.
Well, it makes sense why you liked Tycho so much. I thought that episode was like, it was good. I could have
greatest anime episode of all time.
Yeah, I don't know where is that coming from. I don't know if you want to save that.
For don't you dare worry. We'll get into it.
Okay, now, all right. I thought she was good.
She was great. Now, honestly, I thought that episode was fantastic. 9 out of 10 the first time I watched it. Second time, let me tell you something, brother. What an episode. But anyway. Yeah, Tycho's the best. She's got the best episode. Miller over here just undermining her by saying that, she didn't do anything for the rest of the show. Who cares? Why is that a prerequisite? God, this Miller idiot. And her, because if you remember last time, we were saying this Gunbuster originally, or Toponare, or whatever it's called, is the combination of an old tennis anime called Rise to the Top or whatever, and then Top Gun, crazy. That is obviously a tennis anime, so her fucking her Buster Machine was a reference to that. Pretty epic, you know. It had a tennis racket, and like I think it's what's his name, Rape Guy. his has like a ball that it shoots, or was that Tycho's first one? One of them had a ball and it was really cool. And it shot lasers. It shot its buster beam out of a ball. I remember one of the other ones, the background guys, had like a foot that was like a rotating like wheel of spikes and stuff. That was pretty cool. EliteAri, how much of that do you remember?
A little bit.
No, you didn't remember a goddamn thing. Tycho's the best EliteAri. You gonna? Oh wait, didn't you already say you also?
I agree.
Whatever, we'll get into episode 3 later. Anyway, then we got Rape Guy and Cassio. I don't think we have anything too particularly to say about them. So we've kind of done overall character stuff now. If I scroll through my notes, because the rest of it, I have a big segment about the ending. And then I have a bunch of other notes that I'm sure we've probably will touch on throughout thingy. There's also a big thing about subversion. Shut up, EliteAri. Why are you laughing? Anyway, okay. I guess my first note here is, how did none of us get the topless joke last time? And I was like, hilarious, because, you know, coming to this, you think you got to be topless, and they call them topless because remember last time she ripped her top off for that one scene? But then No thinks that's actually what you do to get strong, and she's just so funny. But anyway, we kind of already talked about that. I guess another general thing is we talked about it. It really does embody modern anime in a sense, where or more modern anime culture, whereas Gunbuster is kind of removed from that, and anime culture, or at least like online anime culture, hadn't solidified. So like and this happens. I think this happens in the rebuilds. And what else have I seen where this happens in? I guess Steins Gate and stuff like that, where they're using like anime terms in the anime. Like I think Cassio and Rape Guy at the beginning of episode 2 have like a whole like back and forth about whether or not lolly girls or moe girls are better, or no, it's like, is lolly moe or
yeah, they said moe a lot.
Tomboy.
What is that word again?
Yeah, that just means cute. I think like cute girls,
yeah.
like K-On! Is a moe anime.
Yeah.
So it's like the thing where it rusts over. And also, this is something that was referenced earlier. I don't remember who said it. But somebody was like, oh, it was EliteAri. When they said like, oh, they called the Inazuma kick something else one time. Then they did call it, they's like, Rape Guy. We're just going to stick with it.
Nicola
calls it the Kamen Rider kick. Yes, the great Nicola.
I didn't even notice that.
He says, oh, you mean, I think he just says rider kick, not, or maybe he says Kamen kick, but whatever. The Inazuma kick does come from Kamen Rider, which is EliteAri. What's Kamen Rider?
It's a One Punch Man character.
No, it's a tokusatsu show, which is like sort of like Power Rangers, but it's an old thing. And Hideaki Anno, I'm pretty sure, just made Shin Kamen Rider his movie. That's his most recent project. Came out last year or something. But anyway, it's like an old kids show that like a bunch of stuff. It's very influential in anime, and they're like self-referencing it in the anime here. So that's like crazy. Whereas in the first one, you're just supposed to get it, but in this one, a bloke, what do you call it? Confirmed that that's what that was. But yes, what was I talking about? Why did I bring that up? Going off script, you know, just forgetting where you're going with certain things. Oh, wait, to move on from whatever I was saying, there's another thing. Now, because you guys both hated this show, I don't even know if you'll be interested in this question, but when did you figure out sort of the twist that we were in the future, but sort of in the past? Because there are a bunch of, let me just go through the kind of hints here. Now, obviously, our main character is talking about No Riri a bunch, and you're like, no, that's like Noriko. But I didn't get the second part of the name. Now, obviously, I realized she was referencing Noriko, but I was like, is she like, is this, how does, because Kazumi was there too, guy. And I'm like, does Riri somehow mean Kazumi or something? And I was trying to figure that out. And obviously then at the beginning of episode 5, greatest cold open in the history of anime, Nono gets found in a little not an iceberg, in an asteroid by the guy that she lives with on the farm in the snow or whatever on Mars. And she says, no, Ririko. And I'm fucking standing up. I'm like, this is the greatest anime of all time. Obviously, there's other things, like, we're supposedly, like, it's supposed to be like a sequel and stuff. And we're obviously on Mars. We hadn't inhabited other planets in the first one. So it makes you think, like, oh, this is like a way in the future, like super duper way in the future. And then there's a bunch of other things. Like, obviously, we're on, like, Buster Machine, like, Dick's Nicks or whatever. The princess's Buster Machine is called, is like 30 something, and that's like the oldest one. And we're talking about it being around for like hundreds of years or something, and we're like, whoa, that's crazy. There's the topless joke. Oh, and then eventually, like, we get to Juniper in episode 3, and it's like literally the spaceship from Gunbuster. The one from the end that they didn't end up using. And then obviously later, like, the original spaceship being a black hole is like way out. And also there's hints throughout the whole thing that they only are in the solar system, and then there's like this red thing that prevents them from going out of the solar system, and they don't know how to warp. And obviously, yes, the solar system, EliteAri, everybody calm down. And they like, there's no time dilation in this because they can't go that far out. And there's a million things like this. I don't know. Did anybody care to figure out when this happened or whatever? And obviously there's the massive twist at the end where you're like, oh my god, we're so far in the future, and they're literally coming back right now, and this is the greatest moment in anime history. So Mia, did you figure this out at any point? Did you care about this little meta narrative throughout the whole thing, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, that's actually I think the thing I cared about the most, because like going into it, starting it, I was trying to figure out, okay, how does this connect to Gunbuster? And I think it actually plays around with that idea really nicely by just dropping those little hints that kind of get you thinking, kind of make you jump out of your seat. I was like, I had a very similar reaction to you actually, what you were describing with the cold open. You said it was episode 5, right?
Yeah, it's episode 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured when I heard no, I was, and she was talking about like some person in the past. I was thinking, okay,
this is she was just a normal girl and hardworking guts. And
I was thinking, okay, this has to be about Noriko. I don't know, but for some reason I didn't remember Noriko's name very well, so I didn't even think about the Riri part. I was like, whatever. No, clearly it has something to do with.
Well, I didn't. I still didn't get it, so you might be better than me.
But I kind of didn't really think about it much beyond episode 1. What I was trying to figure out mostly was, is this before the end of Gunbuster or after? Is what I was trying, because I didn't really, I think it wasn't until not the very end, like near the end, probably around episode 5, where I was trying to think, okay, how does this actually end? Where I tried to, piece it together. But it doesn't go out of its way plot-wise to rely on Gunbuster in the way I would have expected. Yeah. It definitely does with like ideas and
the attack names and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. It wants to remind you of Gunbuster for sure. And I think part of that works into how you interpret the plot and where you think it's going, because it doesn't let you forget that this is Gunbuster 2, but it takes its time to establish its connection to it, and I actually really, really like that.
Yeah, because a thing I brought up at the beginning was that I thought it was just a retelling, and I went into it with that, and then quickly I sort of realized that wasn't how it is, but it isn't really confirmed that that's not how it is until the very end. So when the princess puts on the old uniform, oh my god, I was standing up, guys. I was like, this is the greatest anime of all time. She put on the fucking uniform. She crawls through the spinal cockpit, and he's got the thing in his eye, and he pulls it out, and he walks up, and it's the old cockpit, and she's not the cockpit where you're clearly sitting on a long dildo-esque object. Anybody else notice that? But in the real cockpit, and oh my god, she had the outfit on, guys. I was freaking the fuck out. But anyway, so, Mia, did you remember it all that I had said last time that it was a retelling? Please tell me you forgot and you didn't.
I'm glad I forgot. Yep. I did not retain that at all.
Did you forget? Or do you have any idea what we're talking about?
I guess I just assumed that this was like a sequel because it's called Diebuster, which is Gunbuster 2 or something. And it's like, okay.
You never listen to me and you just ignore everything I say.
It's been a long time since we had our discussion, and I've basically forgotten everything about Gunbuster except for all the high level stuff.
Everything EliteAri says. Quiz me on anything.
But you know what? Let me say I'm a genius, because as soon as she said no Riri, I was like, hey, that kind of sounds like a name that I should recognize. And then I didn't personally. At that point, I was like, I don't remember any single name from the Gunbuster show except for Coach. So I scrolled up to my first page of notes, and the first name here was Noriko, and I was like, oh, it's Noriko. It's a reference to Noriko. Okay, clearly she's a fan of Noriko. And then she does the kick later on, and I was like, oh, so she's like inspired by Noriko or something. And then from there, I was like, okay, that was my genius point basically. But yeah, there you go.
Truly genius.
Thank you.
Now, Mia, how far out from them coming down from the spaceship did you realize that it was the ending? Because we catch up with the princess, and she's standing over the Okinawa thing from the first one, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm standing up. My hands are on my head. I'm like, this is not happening right now. And then she comes down and she's like, oh my god, no, I wish you could have met the girl you idolize so much. And then they come down and they do the thing, and I was like begging, oh my god, are they gonna show him? Are they gonna show him? They didn't end up showing him. Everybody calm down. You know, that's why this is a 9 out of 10. But I was freaking the fuck out. I was like, this is the greatest anime of all time.
I would have liked to see them. That's for sure. I think I kind of pinned that ending pretty early on, but for some reason when the time actually came, I just wasn't thinking about it. And then the lights came on, and because like they had this thing going. I don't know if this was an intentional way to get me to stop thinking about it, but like talking about the things that Nono wanted to see on Earth. Right. So I'm thinking like, oh, okay. So Lauk's gonna see the things Nono wanted to see. That's cool.
Fly off and that'll
yeah. I thought we were going more for like the direct connection to Nono, but then, you know, even though I like had the idea in my mind, like obviously if you're going to do a sequel to Gunbuster where you do not have time dilation like Gunbuster did, and like what other story was there to tell? This is like very obviously the one that everyone's wondering what happened on Earth in that time that that Noriko was out there. Yeah. I have some more thoughts on that, but I don't know if now's the time for it.
We'll quiz Ari on when he learned, and then we'll talk more about the ending. I think we're basically here. Ari, do you even remember the ending of the first show?
Of course, it was my favorite part because I was like, "Oh my god, it's a subversion!" Because like the dad didn't come home, and now like they're coming home and something. I don't remember, but I do remember like
yeah, you did say something like that about how this mean the dad might be alive or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And Ari was on some silly shit, but anyway.
Yeah, no, that was the genius of that ending. I mean, I don't know what I realized. I think at the end when she's like doing the lights or something, or before, I think it was like right in that final scene. I was like, oh yeah,
and you had no reaction. You were like,
no, I did. I don't know if you want me to talk about it here. I did have a reaction, a negative one for sure. Yeah, I was like,
the ending
yeah, I thought it was very cheap. I was like, oh, so I guess when they came back from like Earth, the Earth had been struggling with a similar thing they had, and I'm like, oh, that kind of undermines the fight they were in. So I don't know. It was cheap in the ending of Gunbuster to me.
Left.
Huh?
And they buried it completely? Huh?
Wait, am I like, okay, maybe I misunderstood everything, but in episode 6, they have a fight, right?
Yeah.
They fight this weird alien thing?
Yeah, that's one
of
the
things. And then they go back to Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like 10, 15 years later or something? Diebuster.
Yes, it's 12 years later.
Yeah. And then like they come back, Noriko and her friend come back, right?
And Kazumi.
Yeah, they come back to Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, that's like the undermine thing. Wait, what did I misunderstand? Isn't that like...
Well, you were saying that, they were just fighting space monsters still, so Noriko didn't do anything.
No, to me it makes it feel like, from now, if I think about Noriko, her story, she like fought like this thing, and then she like got sent to the future, and then she goes to Earth. She's like, oh my god, Earth, how exciting, and she goes there, and it makes it feel like, because of her sacrifice, they were like really happy and everything, and they all, they all lived happy lives. But no, they were still fighting an alien, like 10 minutes or 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was only one left, so they got rid of all of them, so she still won.
Well, there was enough of a thing to create a whole show about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were struggling. I don't know. It just bothers me, right?
I would think 12,000 years, like. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, what we supposed to have peace for 12,000 years, EliteAri? You're whack.
Well, it should have been 13,000 years.
True.
That's it.
Anyway, EliteAri, you're
a bad ending.
Greatest ending of all time. Kill yourself. Now, Mia, tell us your great reading or whatever you wanted to say.
I think, personally, I liked.
Better not be negative.
I liked seeing it when it happened. I really liked.
I've seen this in comment sections. I know exactly what he's going to say. Kind of trivializes the first show. So this show was just...
Yes, that's exactly where I'm going. I feel like I really liked the mystery. It's not really a mystery. It's kind of open-ended interpretation of what... Yeah, the exactly. Of what was Earth really like. Obviously, like that intrigue is at its peak when you come there and you see nothing. And you think everything's gone. and then the lights
They were
come
just
on.
fucking with them. Epic.
But I feel like the way the way Diebuster goes, I'm not convinced that they cared enough to keep those lights. I feel like it wasn't really that important because they had, like Ari said, they had so much going on. They had a lot going on. And yes, the legend of these people who saved the universe, you know, obviously that's important. But I felt
they had forgotten that. So that I think it's just because the princess thought it was important because she knows about it through Noriko, I guess, or maybe through Disnix or whatever its name is.
I may have missed that. What was she part of the reason they even did the lights?
Well, because she basically becomes like the god. Well, not really. Well, kind of, but not. That's not what I mean. Like she's getting whatever she wants, right? In the whole last episode, they literally shut down stadiums and stuff, and like there's a whole like fleet of space things when she goes to visit Nono's adoptive father and shit. Like she could get whatever she wants. So if she's like, okay, listen up, guys. We're going to make it dark, then the lights are going to come on, and the girl that Nono really liked is going to get this cool entrance, and we're all going to worship her again.
That's kind of cool. I think I missed that. That changes my mind a little bit on it, because honestly, maybe I just didn't pay enough attention to the progression.
I mean, honestly, when we're creating the show, I think it's like, well, this is the ending point, so let's
exactly. That is exactly how it feels. It feels like, as cool as that moment was, I don't think it trivializes the end of Gunbuster as much as I feel like it makes me wonder if there was probably something better we could have done with Diebuster to lead to that point. Because it really did feel like it's just kind of capping it off without, I don't know, a concise reason why we progressed to that. It didn't really feel like a payoff on what Diebuster was as much as it was a payoff on I was a fan of Gunbuster and I liked the ending.
Yeah, I guess the reading of like, oh, it's for Nono is like, oh, well, then it is about Diebuster because it's about Nono. But we're also just adding a layer to the previous ending. I know it's also really cool to see Lalik, the princess, there, like how mature she seems and how like kind of happy she seems. You're like, oh my god, she's the best. I love her just as much now.
I think one element we kind of lost. I mean, obviously with the way anime is voiced, it's hard to retain this idea. But one thing we talked about that I thought was interesting is like the backwards letter with the welcome back.
Yeah.
Or welcome home.
They're speaking in Japanese. I thought,
thinking like language must have changed so much, but obviously, you know, they're speaking Japanese throughout the whole show. But
everyone has a Tokyo, Lunar Tokyo, Mars Tokyo, Jupiter Tokyo.
Oh, that changes. That might change my entire thoughts and feelings on this too. Because I was about to say, from the perspective of the viewer, whatever language they're speaking is the one they understand.
I've saved it in my head, all right? They just fucked it up because they rushed it, and it was just the princess.
Oh, because she did it literally 5 minutes ago? No, that's actually...
I cannot do it, get a thingy in their line. That's
actually...
I love that.
I would have liked if they said a little thing about that. I think that would have been cool.
It's like, no would have fucked it up a little bit, so the princess fucked it up a little bit. Genius. But anyway, I interrupted you, Mia. Go ahead.
No, I was right at the end of my thought anyways.
I don't know. I guess it just means like, well, I don't give a fuck about Gunbuster. Diebuster's way better. So if it lessens the ending to that, I don't really care. But for me, it really it does add to it a little bit. Now, because now I'm hung up on this in a million different ways in a million different shows where I just like on the mere precipice or the mere idea of like the show's looking different is enough to really piss me off. Like the fact that Naruto Shippuden looks even slightly different from original Naruto. Like as a kid, I couldn't think about anything else. It like infuriated me to a millionth degree. And I felt the same with like Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z to Dragon Ball GT. And I'm like, this is why I hated Dragon Ball GT even as a kid. I'm like, it doesn't sound right. The music's wrong. It looks different. This is not my show. I hate this. So so in my head, like a Gunbuster is a very different thing because it just looks different. To the point where I think that I start with that, I sort of let myself inch towards more positive for it, like being the same, like because even when the princess has the outfit on, like it looks really cool, but it doesn't look the same because the art style is different and stuff like that. And that's like a part of me is like, oh, should we show Noriko in this art style? Like, is it gonna feel weird if we see her? So I guess it just allows it to inch the other way because I start at like a negative place. I don't know. But anyway, it was great. Also, I guess I haven't brought this up yet, and I guess I'll bring this up now. There is supposedly, apparently, this is something that like gets brought up like Half-Life 3, where like Gunbuster or Diebuster 3 is supposed to be a thing. I think in a recent thing, because Studio Gynax recently, I don't know if you know this, Mira, I've said this to Ari, you probably forgot it. Gynax like literally had filed for bankruptcy, like they're in the middle of doing it now. Crazy shit happened. They cheated on their taxes. Their CEO went to jail for well, he went to jail for 3 years. Now, Mia, let's speculate. What do you think his crime was for going to jail for 3 years?
Didn't you just say evading taxes?
It was rape. I don't know why he only got 3 years, but he raped somebody and went to jail for 3 years. It's like in Japan how you get like 6 months for child porn, like that Rurouni Kenshin guy or whatever. But anyway, so he's raping people, so that's, you know, a rape guy. So anyway, everything's falling apart at Gynax. Hideaki Anno left. He took the director of this with him. The writer of this is a freelance guy, it seems. So like they've got like no talent yet left. Everybody went to Trigger or is in Studio Kara or just went elsewhere. So Gynax is fucking dead. They're selling their shit off. And I think one of the more recent things is that, because Anno obviously bought Evangelion from him, that's why he's making the rebuilds with his own studio. I think he has bought Gunbuster and Diebuster. So there's always like Gunbuster 3 might be happening. And if that does happen, it's very interesting from a premise of like, what's Lalek and Noriko's interactions going to be like? I assume they can both still pilot machines because we're over this topless thing. And because if you go into your, like, what could this look like, et cetera, et cetera. So that could be interesting to think about. So in that case, you would have to show them in an art style, but the art style would be 20 years more difference. Maybe when we get to the 50-year mark. But then what do you do when it's made by a different studio, but it's kind of the same people, but kind of not? But I don't know.
You just follow Noriko's dad.
I guess
you follow his story.
True, we still
I was thinking, what's a really interesting way forward from this point? Like obviously the fact that the
characters interacting is like
they're in the same time. That is cool. That is pretty cool.
Because Kazumi is there too. I know we're all forgetting, and Nono doesn't give a fuck about Kazumi, but she's a character too. And she'd be like the same age as everybody else, but Noriko would still be a little kid. And like, does the princess hate Noriko for not actually being like Nono? And she's like, you're a disappointment. And Nono wouldn't have even liked you. And then Nono manifests because she's like a spirit or something, and she's in the show too. Genius.
Gunbuster doesn't care about character drama to that extent. They can't make a story out of that.
Fuck the story.
I just don't know in terms of like getting more, you know, mecha action, crazy, split a black hole in half kind of stuff. And that is like the best I think Gunbuster and Diebuster has to offer, you know, those sequences. I feel like they've kind of they've covered both fronts. They've covered like out in the universe and this invading threat, and they've now covered what happened at home and the whatever, you know, additional threats there was there, and now we're kind of back to a bit of a, I don't know, a status quo. So there's kind of a blank slate going forward, I feel like, besides the fact that we have the same characters, or they could, you know, just jump into the future again.
Yeah, I think the sales point would just be like the characters are going to interact, and that's I don't know, that's really all I would care about. I'm sure they can put a plot in there. You know, there's another one on the thingy. Oh, another one of the subversions we didn't really bring up earlier is like, when they're like mining on Titan, I'm like, oh my god, they're going to mine out. It's going to be the original Gunbuster because it's landed somewhere, because we are past Noriko getting back, and it's like, so it's landed, because I'm thinking like we're 20,000 years in the future or something. So it's going to be like the ruins of Gunbuster 1. This is going to be epic, but then it's just a space monster. But
I was really waiting for that, yeah.
Yeah. But obviously you can't, because they're still floating in it as they come back.
That was the best thing, to see that damn space monster. That was awesome, yeah. Oh my god. That was the highlight of the show. I was so excited when I saw it. I was like, I recognize this thing. Oh my god.
Image, you're an embarrassment. Yeah. My image was Nono washing a floor, because she was so funny at the beginning. She was the greatest character of all time. So Mia, did you have anything else to say about the ending, or?
I mean, not about the ending specifically. I think I covered all of that, but just I guess as a whole, the things I liked about Gunbuster and I thought was really interesting, we covered this a little bit already, is the time dilation stuff. I thought that was the coolest part, and I think I talked a lot about it when we did the first video. And the fact that we are constrained to the, you know, the solar system makes sense. It works. It works for how this connects to Gunbuster. I totally understand why it's like that, but you do lose that aspect that I felt was kind of core to the emotional themes of Gunbuster to me. And I felt like it didn't really substitute anything else in that kind of emotional slot for me. Besides, obviously, like, you know, the characters. I did, you know, feel for Nono at the end, but I didn't feel like there was as much of an emotional hook for me. I feel like Gunbuster tried a lot harder to get you emotional.
I think the conceit they probably had was like, well, we did long time spans and stuff. So now this
Try
time
to do something else.
you got to if you get too old, you're out. Like I think that was probably their substitute was the conceit with the topless. It was like,
That would
oh,
make
you
sense.
age out of this thing. I'm sure if we think about that more thematically, there's some sort of more direct thingy. But I guess we can talk about that theme now. Now, I think this was a theme in Gunbuster, but I can't remember how much. And it was definitely something me and Ari talked about more recently. Maybe it's Chainsaw Man. Where it is just like the tried and true anime, like adults are bad, the mindset of kids is good, and like adults sell out and they lose their identity and stuff. So it's like, oh, as you like become an adult, you sort of lose the power you have, the imagination you have, the sort of your beliefs get more nuded and stuff like that. I think that's definitely what they're going for with the topless thing. I don't really care about this thematically.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time with the Cassio scene where he's trying to like do it again even though he's aged out. Oh, and obviously like the twins represent this because they're like doing everything they can to remain young and keep their topless powers, etc., etc. Like the first time I saw that Cassio scene, I thought it was lame. So I really didn't like this theming at all through the first time. I think I appreciate it more on the second time because there's a lot of little things that run into it. Like obviously, Nicola is like very scared of losing his, and then he does, and then he basically completely breaks down because it's like, oh, his whole identity is being a topless. When you can't let that be your identity, you have to have like this internal spirit, like this principledly good spirit that will power you through no matter what. And then obviously that's rewarded by the narrative because fucking the princess, even after she's lost her powers, still uses her powers because she's she's thematically fucking graduated. She's not still trying to figure it out. And obviously Nono every time is she's just correct every time because she just has that infectious goodwill, etc., etc. Which is why she's like childlike and shit like that. So I guess I just explained the theme, even though what was my famous line, EliteAri, about explaining themes that just jump into your head? I just accidentally did it again.
No, I don't remember.
Remember in my Black Lagoon video where it's like this? Oh, was it in my Vinland Saga video? It might be even worse. Where I'm like, oh, don't worry, the theme didn't go over my head. I just explained it.
Oh,
I
yes,
say this
of course,
in something,
yes.
and you always make fun of me for it.
Yeah, in the no, I think it was it was in your Berserk video about Griffith. It was like some metaphor. You're like, the metaphor didn't go in my head. I just explained it. Yeah, anyway.
That's right. Anyway, embarrassing. Killing myself later.
Yeah.
So that theme, EliteAri, you loved it?
Growing
up bad. Oh, I guess it's also an Asuka from Evangelion thing because, once she started to lose her Eva powers, because she was on her period and stuff, she got very mad and then tried to kill herself and then did a bunch of things. But then she realized that wasn't a thing, and then she got strong again. Crazy.
You know what? The theme was fine.
Incestual theming.
I don't really have anything to say.
Didn't understand it. He didn't even think about it one time. He's just pretending right now.
Yeah, very true. But
so
also,
that doesn't win you over from cool time dilation. Wait, what?
I didn't really think about that theme at all, to be honest. I didn't feel really intrigued by it.
True. That's the same. Yeah.
True. I don't know. It's fine. I guess that was all I had on that point, Do we do Taiko now, or do we do episode by episode? I guess we can briefly do episode by episode, and then we'll get to Taiko. Now, I don't have any notes on episode by episode, but episode 1, I think I think I do have notes on the start because I was like, oh my god, there's like a million things here that are like referenced at the end, and I thought this is genius. Where do my old notes start, though? Actually, let's pivot from this real quick because I have a note here that I've just seen. A little more Evangelion. So if you remember last time, I was freaking out about all the things that were like Evangelion. And then my conclusion was like, Gunbuster is really nothing like Evangelion, so none of these really mattered. There's some incestual sound effects in this. Like when the lights turn on. It's very much the Ava lights turning on sound effect. And it's usually when like the bright lights in the cockpit turn on, and it's like, oh my god, I'm ready for the light in the Ava cockpits to come in, but it doesn't because we're not doing that far. But oh my god, I'm getting chills, bro. Evangelion, greatest anime of all time. There's also an OST track that starts just like an Ava OST, where it sounds
Angel
like Ray
Attack.
3. No, EliteAri, not that one.
That's the only one I know.
Where it's like dun, 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 dun. It's like that one. They sound very similar, but then very quickly the Diebuster one changed. Important note, EliteAri, since you love the music so much, the music is by the same guy. They got him back. He's still alive, apparently.
Well, nothing stood out
there's
to me
some
this time.
remixes in here too. One of the great moments is when Nono reveals herself and the fucking song from the first thing plays. It's the same thing. It's like dun 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 dun. You know that one.
That was pretty good.
Epic.
That was pretty good.
It was the greatest moment of my livelihood. And that's like the one Gunbuster song I remembered, so there was probably more in there. Oh my god, there's a moment. Oh, when Nono's starting to realize who she is again. Oh my god, first of all, EliteAri, it's just like Ryu realizing he's Satan and Devilman, where all of his creatures are around him, and just like Nono, all of the space monsters are around her, and she like has this realization, and then what does Nono do? She starts humming the OP from Gunbuster. She goes,
I thought you were going to say the Devilman opening, but yeah. Sure.
No, oh my god, it would have been epic. That would have been even better if she's like, I am Rio Satan, kill yourself, Akira, I'm coming to kill you. But no, she starts humming the Gunbuster theme. Now, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't sound anything like the Gunbuster theme, and I would agree. But all of the wikis say that that's what she's humming, and you can kind of hear it. But if you remember, that's an 80s song that goes, dun, 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 and you're like bobbing and stuff, but she's like very like ominously humming it to herself, so it doesn't, I don't know. I didn't pick up on it, I had to read that was the case.
I have a
but
few
it's pretty
things.
epic when you watch it in retrospect. Oh, are you interrupting my Evangelion thing, EliteAri? I think
Absolutely.
I have one more one.
I have one that I want to say before you say it. Was the scream that the alien did, was that the same as the big pyramid Ramiel scream?
Oh, it sounds like it, EliteAri. I thought, I think it's from the You haven't seen the rebuilds, though.
No, I haven't.
So you're thinking about the one angel you really like, right?
Yeah, it's like a prism. It's like a triangle pyramid.
Ramiel, yeah.
Yeah.
I know its name, EliteAri. I'm a fucking genius.
So do I.
But yes, but I swear that's only its sound in the rebuilds. But you haven't seen the rebuilds. You've only seen the original show, so it's probably in both. But yes, it does sound just like it. And I was trying to like, does it sound like the cries from the first show? I don't remember. Because I think
did they cry in the first show? I don't even remember that.
They were like screaming when they went past like fast and stuff, I think. But I think yes, that is one. I didn't actually write that one down. But you're a genius, EliteAri. Thank you.
There was, let me also keep interrupting you. Firstly, you're right. The sound, well, you're not right because you didn't say this, but the sound design is fantastic. I love it. That's the best thing in the show. True. It's so good. Every sound effect.
The CG looks so good, EliteAri. What's up with that?
Yeah, that's okay. It's fine. But what else was there? They played the
You're making the massive space wall to cut Lalek up.
I mean, that was okay. Yeah.
Oh my god, it was fine. Good.
The other music thing, there were two music things. One was when they hummed the opening. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, oh my god, they're singing the opening from Gunbuster. Crazy.
No, you didn't.
I did because I've listened to that so many times. I could even do it now. It's like dun 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 dun. I've heard it so many times. Yeah. Anyway, it's just the best one. The best one, Kyle, and of course Mia. If you're listening right now, I hope. Yeah, we have the Watashi no Papa song. Do you guys remember this one? Where at the beginning she's like, Watashi no Papa. And I was like, this is the greatest scene I've ever. I can't believe it.
What scene is it in? I want to know.
I don't know, but it popped up. It was in episode 6 like a few times. I read it in my notes. I was like, oh shit, they did it twice. They played the song twice. Oh my god. And I thought of Mia and how much you hated that scene and how much I love that scene. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Yeah, Mia hated that scene.
Hated is such a strong word.
Yep. I was crying and Mia was laughing. That's my takeaway.
I thought it's true.
He's crying and you're laughing. Embarrassing.
Yep. That's it. That's all I have to say. Nothing else. Yep.
Yeah, usually I'm the one who's paying attention to music. I didn't really feel any besides like the one we talked about, Kyle. I didn't really feel as strongly about the music here as I did with Gunbuster.
There was another one with I saw a comment on one of the videos that was like another one that I thought was really cool, but I can't remember what it was exactly. But there's another musical thing that maybe if we've got an audience out there, they're screaming to bring up this one. But just know that I'm thinking about not thinking about that one. But go ahead, Mia.
No, that was pretty much it. I just didn't have as strong of a a feel for the music here as I felt like I did in Diebuster 1. But you said it was the same composer?
Same composer, yeah.
Okay.
At least that's what Wikipedia tells me.
I'll need to listen through and see if any of the like newer compositions stuck with me or not, because I don't really remember any of the newer compositions.
You gotta watch Diebuster twice, and then it'll be your favorite anime of all time, just like me. Now,
I don't know.
don't doubt me. Other Evangelion things, so we got some similar music cues. There are other ones, but they are lapsing in my mind right now. They do the thing, which Ava does, and probably other anime do this too. But in Ava, I specifically remember, it's like episode 20 or something, and Ritsuko and Masato are in a car, and they're just talking to each other. They're sad about stuff. It's episode 20 of Ava, right? Sad shit's happening. And there's just a radio program going on, and like the characters are talking, but the radio program is also talking. But the radio program is very thematically like the radio program will be about how you are looking for a mother in your girlfriend, sir. You've called in for advice, and it's like a lady talking about that, and it's like, oh my god, this is what all these characters are dealing with. This is crazy. But anyway, there was a scene like this. I think it's in episode 3, the greatest episode of all time. Where the radio's going and it's like a thematic thing about the rules or something, and they're having a different conversation. And it's just like such an Ava thing to do. And then there's like a little Razafan things.
Wait, one more Ava
calling
thing.
her big sis and stuff. But go ahead.
So I don't know why no other anime does this, but Evangelion, I think Gunbuster did this so well too, but nothing else I ever watched does this. It's when they're talking on the radio, and it actually sounds like a radio, and it like sounds really good, if you know what I mean. Like they've got like telecoms or whatever, and it's like sounds like compressed and like overblown and stuff.
Like the train station in Ava, it's so good.
Yeah, it sounds so good, but I don't know why no other anime does it. It's just so good. Anyway, yep.
It is funny because it is like a little like, I mean, people make fun of Anno for being like an autist who loves trains, but it is like a. Like, clearly he's been on a lot of trains and he's, like, listening to, like, the effects and, like, the swaying on the train. But this particular swaying and then, like, the things that you're supposed to hold on to swaying. And then the Walkman ASMR in Ava. Yeah, it's just good, Even though he didn't work on this besides doing some storyboards, okay? Anyway. Oh, I'm just going through miscellaneous notes now. I'm trying to get to my episode 1 notes. The lost corrupt adults versus the kids at heart thing. We talked about that. We have only for the first 2 episodes, it goes, Diebuster! Diebuster! But then it doesn't do it. After that, just like Gunbuster. So that was, what were they doing there? We'll never know. Hold on, now I'm scared that I just like crashed the call or somebody. EliteAri, say something. Oh my god, you piece of shit! EliteAri was fucking with me, but I just heard Mia say something. Oh, this is like a weird like Madoka thing. EliteAri, they've all got like weird spacesuits and like like
how's it a Madoka thing?
Yeah, I don't know. It reminds me of Madoka when they have like weird like outfits and stuff in like their
like witch form. Okay, yeah, interesting.
It's just like also it's like cutesy, so it's Madoka Magica, but it's like. Yeah, she's like a weird bunny thing as she's going from ship to ship, and it's like really serious. And then Rape Guy also has like a weird different, like an elephant thing. I can't remember what he had, but it was different.
I have no idea what you're talking about. An elephant thing? What? It
probably wasn't an elephant. It was a different animal that he was like floating through his little spacesuit while he goes from ship to ship. Okay. He had one. I don't know if it was an elephant.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. Okay. I think. Okay.
Weird little detail. Pretty cool. Then I have loser. Nicola does the Gynax pose first. Lame. Don't worry, the girls do it later. I think Taiko does it, and then and then obviously the 2 main girls do it eventually. But Nono does it when she first comes out and is superpowered, and then I think Princess does it in the last episode. Anyway, we're finally up to my goddamn episode 1 notes. Let me scroll down here. Our introduction to Nono is her punching her dumb dog and saying, never put off until tomorrow what you decide to do today. Cloud inevitably follows sunshine. And I was like, true, this is genius. What a great show. I love this. And then I was like, the intro, and then she decides to leave. She's leaving her whole life, EliteAri. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The intro monologue is all about falling stars and wishes not coming true. And oh my god, it's like a Noriko thing because, that's going to be the end of the show. What a genius show, foreshadowing the end of the show at the beginning. Also, she prays to the little frog man because she's never seen a god before, and then like we're kind of, who is a god? Do they finally become gods at the end when they're smashing planets and shit? God created planets or something. And then is Noriko a god because she guided us through all this, and her hardworking guts mantra was what led us to power to beat her enemy that she left around, you know, because there was one around and stuff like that. There's a few interesting thematic things you can probably read into there, but you know, she's just praying to a frog, you know, why not? And then I think that's the extent of my my episode 1 notes here, because I just wrote down the intro stuff. But episode 1, she leaves Mars. We don't really see her home life. The fucking mutt is yelling as she's trying to leave. She gives it a punch. Bull physics. And then she's working at a bar or something. Then, you know, these guys, you know, they're trying to harass her and stuff. And the princess is there and she saves her. And immediately she's in love and she's not making any money, just like Denji in chapter 1 of Chainsaw Man, and she's splitting plates and fridges, and she's got like a boss that's like mean to her but actually loves her, and then tries to chase her down with a thingy. And then there's a space monster fight at the end, and then she goes up and you're like, how is this girl alive? She's all the way up in space. And then she starts running on the space monster and you're like, oh my god, this is, not only is she funny, she's the coolest girl of all time. And then my god, she Inazuma kicks this motherfucker and he splits in two, and I'm like, this is the greatest pilot episode of anything of all time. And apparently you two hated it. And Mia wants to talk about shitty JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for some reason. Embarrassing.
I actually liked the first episode. I thought it was a good intro.
Cool. EliteAri, you hated it?
Yeah, I thought it was terrible. It was all comedy, and I'm like, where's the charm of Gunbuster?
So, Mia, let's figure out this fucking idiot first. So this idiot. So now he always, why do I always forget? He always says he hates comedy. But every time I see something funny, I'm like, this is just up EliteAri's alley. He's gonna love this. The Great Polite Society, he's gonna love this.
Oh boy.
Diebuster, he's gonna love this. But he never does. So why do I get that impression? Let's remember, what's funny that EliteAri likes? He likes something funny.
Chainsaw Man?
And it sets me off. Chainsaw Man, he loves Chainsaw.
Yeah, but I don't like it because it's funny.
Way funnier than Chainsaw Man.
Jesus.
True, me and EliteAri nearly like killed each other one time because he tried to say that Chainsaw Man wasn't a comedy, and I was gonna strangle him to death.
Chainsaw Man is
anyway, EliteAri doesn't like comedy, and we gotta remember this.
Yep.
But
I love One Punch Man, and I'm always dying when I'm reading because it's so funny. So I don't know, doesn't make sense.
One Punch Man's lame. It's got a bald idiot on the cover. Who cares? I haven't seen One Punch Man. You know, I don't watch popular anime. I watch Diebuster because I'm cool like that. He's got no retort. So episode 1 was cool. Are we done on episode 1? Epic.
I guess one thing I kind of liked about it is just the way the setting feels compared to the start of Gunbuster.
So cool. We're on Mars.
Yeah, I like that. Like when I think of the start of Gunbuster, I think of like, you know, the Okinawa, the bright sky, the very blue water, the very, very green grass, you know, that very earth feel. And I like the juxtaposition of starting on Mars and it's just very barren. It feels almost apocalyptic, but it's not. It's clearly, you know, still functional, but just like that dusty kind of feel. I think it was smart to open it and to immediately establish that different feeling by having it be on Mars like that.
Yeah, I think this is true for both shows, where it's like, I feel like the world has so much like unnecessary fleshing out, where it's like, man, that Jupiter city in like episode 3, like we should have like a 50 episode anime set here and only here, and we're like going through each store and figuring out what the fuck's going on here. Mars felt like that too. Like they got this big bar and it's big enough for like space dudes to come in, so it's clear like their clientele is usually just space dudes in their spacesuits, but they don't actually go to space. Remember, it takes 15 years of studying or something to go to space, unless you've got the spirit of the great no-no. Now, yeah, but all the settings in this, and even in the original show. Now, the original show just had the ship, and stuff like that, but still, it was cool. But obviously, Diebuster is better. We got Mars, we got Jupiter, we got something else, Lunar Tokyo. Remember that? Remember how they have the old dudes that are from Cowboy Bebop in the fucking thing? Why do they look like that? Why do all old Japanese people look like that in anime? Does anybody have an answer? Mia, have you seen Cowboy Bebop?
Nope.
Oh my goodness. First Evangelion, now Cowboy Bebop. EliteAri, I bet you don't even remember what I'm talking about.
Yep. I mean, I remember the one in Cowboy Bebop. I remember the stuff in Cowboy Bebop, not in Gunbuster.
Remember in Gunbuster, the princess goes to Lunar Tokyo. We see
the
it
hell's
the first time, and they're in like a tradition. Alec, or whatever her name is.
Oh, I was talking about Gunbuster. Wait, you're saying Diebuster?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you said Gunbuster. Okay, yeah. I'm with you. I'm
now,
with you.
Princess
All right.
Leary, the princess, remember her? So she now do you remember the scene I'm talking about where she goes to meet the like super old people that actually run
Yeah,
shit?
I do
Run
remember
shit?
that. Yeah.
And they look like just like the people that Vicious ends up killing in Cowboy Bebop, the original bosses of the mob dudes.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Why do they
I
look
thought,
like that?
okay,
Why
you know what I thought?
is this a reference to that?
I thought you were talking about the homeless people in Cowboy Bebop. And then Gunbuster, there were homeless people or something. Anyway, I don't know.
That's the same episode, I think. That's in Jupiter Jazz. So pretty good memory there, EliteAri.
Yep. So
pretend you remember that.
They look like
But
that
is this
because
a
of
reference to Cowboy
like
Bebop?
no, I don't know. It's probably just some like Japanese people just have a collective
like when you've lived too long, like when you've artificially lived too long, you like become like a frog-looking fella.
Yeah, I don't know, some collective depiction of age, maybe.
I feel like I've seen it in like Final Fantasy VII too, so I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Now I haven't actually played that game, so who knows? Mia, have you ever seen weird frog people or anything?
You reminded me.
Go ahead, EliteAri.
Sorry, it reminded me of in this is a very niche reference, but Tales of the Jedi Season 1. Not Tales of the Jedi. Star Wars Vision Season 1 by the Trigger Studio.
Anime?
Yeah, it was the second Trigger episode with the old man who was like a Sith Lord. He looked kind of similar to what we're talking about here. So just for anyone out there. Anyway.
Maybe there's like a Japanese folklore thing where this is what you look like if you're a little hermit and you get too old or something. I don't know. It's weird.
All right, go ahead, Mia. Sorry.
I don't know. Anyway.
I didn't have anything to add. If you're asking me about how I feel about these old guys in Diebuster, I have zero thoughts.
Very good.
They were visual, and there were some girls there too. But yeah, anyway, we've jumped ahead to episode 6. God, it was so cool. The beginning of episode 6. It's just the princess running around like she owns the whole galaxy. It was epic. Anyway, we were talking about episode 1, but now we're on the great episode 2. Now, this is the worst episode of the show, obviously. We've got, but it's still pretty cool. We meet the fraternity in this. You know, we got Cassio and stuff. He's like perving. And that Nicola is like, this girl has potential. I think she can do it, even though she's a robot, which means you can't be a topless if you're a robot. But then he says, like, maybe an advanced AI could, it's just got to have hardworking guts or something, or the same feeling or something. And then there's like, these people want to know what happened on Mars. So they arrest the little girl and then they have a fight. And I'm pretty sure Cassio fights in it. But then the princess wants to hang out with her boyfriend. But instead, Nono convinces her to save the people because Nono is a good person. What an episode. Any thoughts? EliteAri?
Go ahead, Mia.
Mia?
No, good. I was... Okay, fine. I was just going to say, I agree. I feel like this is the weakest one. I feel like all the others, I can pretty distinctly remember exactly, the core of what they were focused on. And this one, is introducing characters that I could tell immediately they're not going to be much more than what they are here. The pretty much the rest of the side cast. I thought it was okay. I didn't feel like it was a very strong follow-up on 1.
Still better than anything in that shitty first show, but it was pretty whatever. EliteAri, do you have anything to say about episode 2? Or
so I have 2 things. One thing I want to say, it's times like these where we're meeting new characters and stuff, where I miss that one random episode in Gunbuster where they were playing games, the boys and the girls, and they met up in the middle, and there was that guy who died in space. Remember that guy?
Mitsu.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I miss him. We needed more characters like him, I think.
And we had to tell Mia what a popper was. That was epic.
Yeah.
Mia, do you remember what a popper is?
No.
It's a juice box. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
He remembers.
Yeah.
And then they indirect kissed, and that was so cute.
Yeah, we needed more stuff like that, more small characters like that. But anyway.
Mia, we got to talk about this. Oh, EliteAri, you have one.
No, I have one more thing. It's about time I put my foot down and demand that you guys explain. Who is the princess? What does that mean?
They call Lalek the princess all the time.
But that's at the end, right? Oh, they do that throughout the whole show?
No, they call it at the very beginning in the first episode, like the cat.
Jesus Christ.
When Tycho's walking the cat, which neither of you remember from episode 1, but that did happen, where there's like a talking cat, but then they cut to like an ominous thing and it's Tycho. Yeah, shut up. It's a black cat that's just talking, probably a Sailor Moon reference. We love that. We just said that dude wrote Sailor Moon episodes at the beginning, you remember? Why did I bring that up?
Because the princess.
Oh, she calls her a princess there. It's just like because she's the best, she's a princess.
Thank you. Okay.
And because she's not very girly, and so it probably annoys her a little bit, so it's epic. I was screaming, and so Alita, are you done? So me and Mia can have a great conversation.
Yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
So you were disappointed, and I was also disappointed that Kazumi and Noriko didn't kiss in the first one. But the themes of the lesbian love between the main two girls is probably even stronger in this show.
It is absolutely stronger.
I think it's more intense. Like, I feel like in a response to some people reading that into the first one, because the first one is kind of like the only Sama thing. You're like, oh, that's sexy, bro. But then it's like, oh, it's just the 80s. They don't know anything about sex. But now this time we're in 2004, so we got there's a million manga about girls kissing at this point.
Yeah.
So yes. So I think it's much more intentional this time. They still didn't. They were just best friends. Well, it's kind of ambiguous, but they didn't kiss. So
I think it's definitely ambiguous. It didn't feel like there was as strong a focus on the characters filling a similar spot to Coach in this one, where it's like the older guy that the girls are gonna fawn over, that kind of thing. It didn't feel like we had that. I mean, if anything, we had a kind of subversion of that here. But obviously. It's not a focus, but I did feel like immediately they were trying to establish a very similar, a stronger bond and chemistry. It's not a stronger bond either, really. It's just
it is.
I think they wanted a stronger bond compared to to Noriko.
Yeah, we hate Noriko and Kasumi. We love Momo and Princess.
They had a strong. Actually, you know what? It is a stronger bond. You're actually right.
Convinced.
But while we're talking about the connection between these two characters, though, I don't know if either of you, I may have brought it up in the first video too, if either of you watched the Gundam Witch from Mercury. It came out recently. It was like maybe a year ago now, or
I've seen no Gundam, and I'm almost certain Ari hasn't. So
I've not seen. It was the only Gundam thing I've ever seen. But the relationship between Nono and Lauk is a lot like the main two characters in that show as well. And it made me wonder, like, while I was watching, they're so similar that I was wondering if that the Gundam story they were doing there was like inspired by Diebuster in any way. Because I would not be surprised.
Now, I think we can plug in Elite. Wait, first of all, did they kiss in the Gundam show?
Not yet.
Unbelievable.
It is more. It is definitely more. I don't know. Focused on. Closer? It definitely gets closer. That is for sure. There's still there's still guys, but I think it's very more like heavy-handed and intentional.
Wait, is in the Gundam one? Is it also like a brown girl and a Japanese / white girl?
No,
okay.
But white hair and just it's more of the personalities though, like the more kind of subdued,
the nice one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, now we might tag in EliteAri into this conversation because specifically this being a brown girl, and a white girl, Razafan, which I mentioned earlier, which came out the shut up, EliteAri, we're getting to you. All right, calm down. Razafan is a 2003 show made by Bones. It's a mecha show. Many people call it an Ava clone. Me too. It's pretty epic. I like it. I've only seen it once though. I want to rewatch it soon. Anyway, in that show, I swear to God, these two are lesbians. There's two fighter pilot girls. They both got short hair. One of them's brown. One of them's white looking. And I swear to God, if one of them doesn't end up with the main character and no lesbianism at all. Now, specifically, I bring this up because it's a brown and a white girl. Now, I'm pretty sure this is all a big Revolutionary Girl Utano reference. EliteAri, pipe up.
Yeah, the really tall Utano with the pink hair. True.
And she's in love with the brown girl, right? She's her prince or whatever, or knight.
The shorter brown girl. True.
Now, I don't know if there's an even older thing that like Go Nagai made or something that they're all referencing, but I think it's a Utano reference. And I think in Utano, right, it's also ambiguous. They don't actually kiss, right, Ari? Oh, spoilers, bro.
Well, Utano doesn't have a literal interpretation of the story, I don't think. So I don't think it has. It's like a fully abstracted piece. I don't know if there is any love in the show.
EliteAri also thinks this about Evangelion, and I remember him saying that now.
I think that has at least some element of a plot. I don't know if Utano has any plot. I mean, maybe. The answer is like maybe. I don't know. I think I don't remember if they kissed. They might. But even if they did they really kiss? I don't know.
Yes, the whole show's about love and those two loving each other. So I guess we're all getting cucked out of kissing because of revolutionary girl Mia. So I'm a genius. I know everything about anime. We could always just watch a Yuri show, right? EliteAri, you want to do that?
Yeah,
next?
like House of the Dragon.
Wait, I'm watching Yuri Happy or Lily this month. It won my spin on the wheel. I don't know if that counts.
True, you did spin that.
Yeah.
I'll be on it, EliteAri. Doesn't it have 29 episodes or something?
I think it's more than that, yeah.
37, 39 maybe. Remember how they had him kiss Mia and then they just didn't do it? They just didn't bring it up again?
Yeah. I feel like it'll matter. I'm not gonna get into House of the Dragon
because they figured it out.
I am not gonna get
Anyway, House of the Dragon, ladies and gentlemen, crazy. Now, what are we up to? Oh my god, is it time? Are we up to the greatest anime episode of all time, episode 3?
Yeah.
So you're both telling me right now that I only really liked it this much on the second.
You're gonna put
so,
words in my mouth.
Can't make fun of you. What did you say, Mia?
I said you're gonna put words in my mouth.
I would never do that.
I cannot believe these accusations. Now, let me tell you something about this episode. Should I just read from my goddamn script I wrote? No, the script's bad. It's only in the first draft, right? Anyway, so there's this girl. Her name's Taiko, right? She's out fighting space monsters and she's kicking ass. She's going to beat that dumb princess. She's just destroying these space monsters. They're not actually space monsters, but we're not up to that yet. And then her earring comes off and she goes to grab it. And you're like, wow, what a subtle way to indicate that she really cares about her earrings. Shut up, Mia. Stop doubting the episode. And then her thing gets exploded. It blows up. She has to have like this flap thing go over her head. Again, another weird Gunbuster little detail that was so sick. We need a 50-episode series in this goddamn world. And she runs off. Oh, and even sicker is she gets lost. And then there's this awesome scene of like Nix like fading into view from like this static shot where it's like there. Well, it's not there. And then it fades in and it's there. And it found her. It was the coolest shot of anything of all time. Did you both forget that shot? I don't hear any yeses right now. Like agreeing noises. Oh my goodness gracious me. I'm sick of both of you. But anyway, it's so cool. Anyway, go back and watch it again. Anyway, so this episode is let me tell you about subversion here. We got a new gunbuster coming in, a new buster machine. And it's pink. So you're like, oh, finally, Nono's getting a machine. This is great. And this moody bitch over here who keeps fucking up the thematic message over here, thinking she's just gonna, like, fight to make her score better and the narrative's gonna reward her. What an idiot. She's not getting this gunbuster. And there's fucking Nono. Pink. It's pink, guys. It's like, oh my god, this is the episode. This is gonna be epic. And then we do the whole thing. We learn more about this great Taiko. She has to go and get space radiation thing. That's what Coach had, guys. Coach died from this, and she nearly has it, but she gets the blood work done just fine. And they're on Jupiter, and it's the coolest thing. And there's one scene of the princess and the rape guy on the boat, and they're just going through it, and it's like nighttime, and it looks really cool. I don't really remember where that went. But anyway, and then we cut back, and then the kids try to steal their earrings and stuff, and they're like, give me back my earrings, that matters to me, because her dead brother had space radiation poisoning, that's what she was just getting tested for, and he died, but he was carving her little thing. And the cutest little piece of animation I've ever seen in my life is when little Taiko runs up and she picks up the red earring. I'm getting these earrings. She puts it up to her ear and she says, do I look like a lady? But the way she says it is so cute, it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Tell me you remember this one, EliteAri?
Of course I do. Yep.
He's lying.
No, I remember. It was like she was a kid. It was like in the hospital that they go to when they travel in time or whatever. I remember.
This specific little cut of animation, EliteAri, it was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I think I remember it. Yeah.
You gotta rewatch this whole show.
I do.
You remember it, of course.
Yeah, I remember it.
And neither of you remember it.
No,
otherwise, this would be a 10 out of 10.
Put one's my mouth.
It is possible.
Anyway, she holds it up to her ear and it's like, oh my god. But then this brother is like looking out the window and says something, but he's not really looking at her. He just smirks. We don't see what he says. And you're like, oh, that's weird. He's like overlooking her, and that's why she's so mean nowadays, because her brother died and she didn't get what she wanted, etc., etc. And then we cut back and she's like, we're having a talk with these kids. And throughout the episode, Nono's like reciting the little thing that the princess says at the knighting ceremony or whatever it's called. And she's like, oh my god, we, as the topless, we solemnly swear to make everybody happy. And then Taiko says, shut up, bitch. And she like punches her or something and says, you can't make the impossible possible, main character. And she flips her off and then she runs off. Because these kids, EliteAri, they live on Jupiter and they want to see snow. And they're little orphan kids. And they're so cute. And, so we got to get them snow something. But no snow. It doesn't snow on Jupiter. There's no sky either, because, you know, it's the spaceship from the first show. Crazy. Because remember Jupiter? They blew it the fuck up when they threw it into those goddamn space monsters. It's so cool. I remember later when she grabs Jupiter and, like, the gas around it, like, dissipates slowly. Alito, you remember that. You love space shit.
Is this in Gunbuster?
No, this is in Diebuster. Because remember?
I remember there was, like, they're, like, only the core remains.
Yes, she grabs the core, but around the core is like this weird, like gas shape.
Yeah.
That's clearly like a bit of atmosphere. And as she pulls Jupiter to throw it into the spaceman, like the gas, like there's like this super cool kind of animation where the gas like dissipates and makes a weird shape, and it's the greatest thing anybody's ever seen in their lives. You don't remember it. But anyway, that's beside the point. Anyway, it doesn't snow on Jupiter. Wait, because they grabbed, this is the fake Jupiter. I was like, they didn't blow up Jupiter when they threw it into that thing. It was a different thing. Everybody calm down. The kids are still alive. Now, cute kids, we're going to make it snow. And then the battle starts and they're losing. Imagine that. We need somebody to save the day in this great new mech. And they have one last argument where Nono's like, you are not doing it for the right reasons. You got to do it for the kids. And I was like, oh my God, you got to do it for the kids. And I'm like so excited for Nono to have a moment. And then Nono does the pose where she puts the arms together. And then the eye opens on the thingy. And you're like, oh my God, it's the moment. This is the greatest thing of all time. But at this point, you're like, oh, I kind of like Taika. I kind of want to get in the machine. And then you're like, but Nono's so fucking cool. This is the greatest character of all time. And then she's standing there and the machine opens up. And then she says, and then I think Taika goes to speak. And then something. And she's like, oh no, she has a thematic breakthrough where she's like, I just didn't want him to hate me or something. And you're like, oh, sorry, I love Taika. She's so nice. She just loves her little brother, and he was a big brother actually. And
that's a brother? Oh my God. Yes, I thought that was her her love interest.
Because you were thinking about Madoka Magica, you piece of shit. You were making fun of me for thinking about it, but it's just like Sayaka and her boyfriend, but it's her brother, and it's way cooler in this show.
Oh my God.
Me, you haven't
it's all coming together.
Magica, have you?
I have seen Madoka Magica.
Oh, me and knows what we're talking about here. Yeah. Anyway, we're back in the scene. The thing opened up. It's the craziest moment. There's kinetic energy. The princess is getting the shit beaten out of her up there. She needs some help. And then what happens? But you cut into, and the machine's up, guys. And oh my God, Nono must be in there. And she flies out, and she just starts fucking shit up. But not the really fucking shit up. That's gonna happen in a second. But then, like, things are happening, and they're like, oh my God, it's dis next dex, or whatever it's called, 90 in French. All the numbers are in French, by the way. Dis next, or whatever, means 29 in French. I'm a genius, I knew that. And then you just see it starts fucking up things, kinda. And then you cut back, and there's like oh, she threw the earrings down, guys. How can we forget the most important part? She threw the earrings down. But then somebody goes to grab the earrings, and you see the hand, and you're like, holy fucking shit. That's Nono's hand thingy. Nono's not in the thingy. She's in the thingy. The greatest subversion of all time. But she went to get the earrings for her because Nono's just the nicest girl and she loves her. And then we're back in the thingy and she does the thing like exotic maneuver. We haven't talked about them yet. Coolest things of all time. And she does the thing. She throws it up and she hits it with the tennis racket and big fucking explosion. Coolest thing of all time. And then it gets even dire because there's still too many of them and they come all through it and they're all coming at her and she freezes them all with -1 billion temperature, EliteAri, because you're a science man, you understand that doesn't actually exist, obviously. So what's going to happen when you use a temperature that doesn't exist?
Time
travel.
She's
going to rewrite space-time or something. Shut up. So she's gonna, this is like, Ava does this a million times where it's like, oh, this shouldn't even be possible. What's it gonna do? And something like weirdly thematic is gonna happen. And you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. And Gunbuster 1, I think, did this when they set off the black hole and they're like, what's gonna happen with the degeneracy generator or whatever? And then she's floating through space like Rey in Evangelion with pose thingy, and she's doing the Oscar pose too. Everything's Evangelion. And Monica sucks. And then it's snowing and stuff. And she's like, oh my God, what is this? And you're like, oh my God, snow thematic kids. And then she's back in her thingy and she's seeing the snow. And her brother saw her in the window and laughed. Said, because remember she asked, do I look like a lady? And she held up the thing, and then he sees her in the future looking like a lady as she's had her thematic breakthrough, and she gets the thingy, and I got a tear in my eye. It didn't come out, EliteAri, don't worry, but I got a tear welling in my eye the second time. I was like, this is the greatest moment in anime history. And then we cut back, and everyone splits into two, and then the snow slowly starts to come down, and we cut, and the snow's caked over the thing, and who pops out of the snow but the great Nono making a funny face. And she makes a little snow angel, no, a little snowman, and she puts the little things, the earrings and the thingy, and then she sends a little photo as she's doing a wacky dance because she's Nono, and then Taiko sees it and she cries, and then the kids see the snow, and it's the greatest anime episode of all time. Did I recap that pretty good?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
really
hated it?
good,
You
yeah.
both were
I
shitting on
mean,
it?
well,
You don't
I
think
would
this is
say
better than everything else?
this is the best, I'd say, standalone episode in the show.
Anime
I think
history.
I think I really like the subversion of No not being the one in the gunbuster, not because the bus machine, not because I didn't see it coming. I feel like it was just timed really perfectly. Where
There is
like
a thought you have, like right
yeah,
before it, where you realize in yourself, you're like, oh, I kind of want Tycho to have it. Because it
exactly.
is the thing of like, it
Yeah.
seems predestined for like, oh, it's the pink one, it's no, she's the main character. Obviously, she's gonna get it. And so you kind of inherently root for the underdog. It's so good. Anyway,
Yeah,
continue.
I feel like the timing of it is perfect. Where right when you think Tycho really should be the one in there, and that's what logically I think a show like this would do. But it happened to me right when it cuts to show Nono's the one inside. Well, in like who's still on Jupiter or whatever. And I just thought that was super well done. It wasn't like an unpredictable subversion, but I just felt like it was paced perfectly to make it still pay off. And
fucking
ah,
sick.
the time thing though, because like I said, the thing about Gunbuster I thought was really cool is the way they played with time. So when there was like an interstellar kind of looking through the
I
window,
guess,
I
yeah.
was like, whoa, okay, what is Diebuster gonna do? And I was
It was just
waiting
for a
for that
character
to
moment.
matter.
That's
It was
worth it.
just, I couldn't believe it was just for a character moment. And I didn't catch that it had to do with
the fuck is
whole.
EliteAri laughing at?
It's just funny.
Continue.
I didn't catch that it had to do with the like how cold it was. I didn't realize that at all. Maybe I might just be
It's
stupid.
just like a line of dialogue they say. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But I thought, okay, maybe we are establishing something here, and I'm kind of bummed out it didn't really matter beyond this episode. As well as it was used in this episode, it was used perfectly. I would have liked to kind of see it a bit more.
I think this is actually a like more interesting conversation than sort of it's sort of it kind of goes into what we lightly touched on earlier, which is the style versus substance thing, or the utility versus I don't know, whatever the opposite of that is. And I think you might actually me are aligned with Miller more on this. And I think me and Ari are pretty in tandem here, where me and Ari would sort of be in the camp of like, well, it doesn't really need to have it, like just to like something. I guess it goes back to the style versus substance thing. Is like I can't remember what example you used earlier. Am I all over the place or what? But where it's sort of like, oh, for a narrative to work properly, it should have like it should set out these rules, it should stick to these rules, and like everything else should follow through that. So it's sort of like this time travel thing. Like, oh, you shouldn't just introduce time travel, Game of Thrones, in season 6, episode 5, and then have it go nowhere. Or you shouldn't just introduce time travel in Prisoner of Azkaban and then never ever come up again, or whatever. And if you kind of think about it, it probably breaks it, because really this was just to do the character moment, because it would be a cute little payoff. I feel like to most people, and sort of the way we've learned to develop to think about narratives on the internet, it sort of is like, that is kind of like the rule we have in our heads. It's sort of like, well, character must change over time and progress, and therefore that's character development, that's good. And like, to just be static the whole time, isn't that lame? Or even, earlier our example was like, I truly think that No being funnier is more important than any sort of substance that could be in Gunbuster or anything. I truly think in terms of enjoyment and things like that, this like trumps it all. And I think Ari would agree with me, because whenever whenever somebody's like, EliteAri, My Hero Academia's final arc fucking sucked, what do you like about it? And he'll just be like, well, it was cool, obviously, and I liked it. And that's sort of we've sort of jerked each other off into this position. I think we just reinforce it in each other. So it's interesting for you to be on the other side, because I think Bacon is more on your side too, where it's sort of like he'll always be like, well, that was a little convenient, and he'll shake his little head, or something like that. I don't know if that even like, this isn't framed as a question, so I have no idea what you're gonna say in response. But
I do think it misconstrues a bit where I'm coming from.
Ooh.
Oh, I would never do that.
I can, well, not intentionally. I can definitely appreciate like what is being done here, and I can kind of.
I kind of wanted to remove it from this example, because like obviously I like Diebuster, and in this argument I'm trying to defend it and stuff like that. But yeah.
But in terms of like, you have to set these rigid guidelines and follow them in order to have a satisfying narrative. I don't think I always align with that. I think
Yeah, I don't think anybody always
I
does,
think
yeah.
yeah, but I do think more often than not, when establishing something has a greater purpose, even when I think
It's
it
like internal
it
logic,
won't.
right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in this case, I don't even think this broke the internal logic. It was just
No, it
kind of
didn't, yeah.
it was just kind of a moment that happened, and there's no real way that the characters could have used that, in my opinion, at least knowledgeably to for from her perspective. It's just kind of, something crazy happened, and that's just kind of it. I don't think it was something where the story needed to well, the story feels wrong going forward because it wasn't addressed. I just thought it was such a
Yeah.
cool idea as a way to follow up on the way time was used in Gunbuster to what's something else we could do with time that isn't just the same thing. I thought that was a kind of cool idea, but I don't think it took away from how 4, 5, and 6 went. I think they still did exactly what they should have done.
Yeah, because it's just like sort of a glance in time. It's not like the hard time travel stuff from those other
Yeah.
examples.
Mhm.
But I think another thing where we sort of because earlier I was like, well, they probably when they came up with Diebuster, were like, all right, we're gonna end here, and then they built sort of backwards. Like to me, that doesn't affect like my enjoyment of. I think I kind of talk about this vaguely as one of my other like larger ideas. I guess is sort of like people like to look at media and sort of like give flowers in a sense to like the author. Like they want to say that, oh my god, Hajime Isayama had the whole thing planned out because when Zeke, I don't know if you've
Mhm.
seen Attack on Titan, but
Mhm.
Zeke looks up and then we put in later that Zeke was actually fucking it's the other way around. Grisha was looking at Zeke the whole time or whatever, and like it doesn't really matter. Like I don't really care that the author was
Yeah.
smart or whatever. It's sort of like obviously that doesn't matter. It's the effect it has on you. And I think Ari kind of gets into this when he talks about AI and stuff. It's like, oh, I could never like something an AI produced and like because it has no soul or whatever. We make fun of Miller for saying that one time. He gets mad. But like then there's sort of the example is like, well, if your favorite story, if you found out tomorrow that actually it was made by a time traveling AI, like would you suddenly hate it or something like that? So it's sort of like these built out examples, like, oh, the ending was probably what they did. People accuse the Uncharted games of doing this all the time, where it's like, well, they said that they just made the set pieces first and then fleshed the story out from there. It's sort of like a damnation on it. Because I guess there are like I know you said you weren't like this, and I don't think you
Mhm.
are, where it's like, oh, everything should follow an internal logic. There are sort of like a now I don't even know if this is true, but it's sort of the impression I get from the way people talk about it is that like the maulers of the internet sort of do abide by that sort of like everything must follow and be consistent and must follow the rules or whatever. And when Star Wars breaks the rules in Acolyte Episode 2, when this old man is too old and he should have been younger, is the worst show ever. Kill yourself if you made it. So it is sort of just this spectrum, whatever.
I
It really just depends on what you value, et cetera,
Yeah,
et cetera.
I totally
Go ahead.
agree with where you're coming from because, like, for example, we brought up Attack on Titan, and I think that has some really bad moments where it doesn't feel like the bigger picture was being considered in terms of like being consistent with the logic. But I'm not the kind of person who gets hung up on that, I think, because
Yeah.
when I watched the like I get hung up on it when I end up in a discussion thread and the
They're
topic
being a
is like
hypocrite?
you have to
Yeah.
focus on it. I'm like, okay. But
Yeah.
like when I'm watching it, what matters most to me is that the creators behind what I'm watching are able to do what they want to do and do it well. And if that means you have to stretch some you have to make some what's the word? Oh my
Logical
god.
leaps or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, a leap in logic to make it work. I can accept that and it doesn't bother me in the moment at all. Like
Yeah.
this didn't bother me at all. Um I mean, I know we were trying to not specifically talk about the
No, do whatever you want.
Diebuster example, but yeah, um, it does. I feel like there's times where it indicates to me that there was a creative need to do this, and then there's times where it indicates to me that there was just some laziness. And I think I have a pretty good feel for when it's one and when it's the other.
Yeah. I think just before I got a bigger response, but just before, it's also like this because you said it didn't affect you in the moment, but it's also true that like the things that do affect you in the moment are like completely like you can't really control those. Like if some like remember when you said in the first episode where Ari was like crying and you were like laughing. It's like those specific things. Like those are completely individualized. Like it was the same thing basically, but you were like, "Oh, this is like funny," and like it's probably just because of the conventions you've like grown up with, and most of the media consume is not like this, and it sort of was a moment of Gunbuster being old and et cetera, or there's a bunch of other reasons. Whereas for Ari, that doesn't happen. I think, and I keep saying me and Ari, and I'm gonna fuck up one time and he's gonna get mad. Because you said the thing about like, oh, trying to sense what the author was trying to do and then sort of like judging it on that basis, which I think is what I think a lot of YouTubers try to do. They sort of outwardly state that of like, well, what was the intent with this thing? And then to try and judge things like objectively or whatever, we'll try to investigate. Like if this Pokemon game is trying to encourage you to catch them all, but actually you have to own 2 copies and you have to trade between games to catch them all, that's a negative right there. You're fucking up Pokemon game. I think me and Ari have sort of jerked ourselves off into this subjective corner where we're like, whatever the author wants, whatever he intends, I don't give a flying fuck. It's every individual situation and every individual viewing of every individual product is completely personalized, and whatever you like for it, even if you've like if something's completely ironic and you've taken it completely seriously, and that was the complete opposite effect, like it doesn't matter or anything like that, or we don't encourage it. I guess these are just 2 different parameters because there's really like I can't think of a fault in doing it the way of like trying to see what in fact, if you're trying to communicate with other people, your sort of what do you call it, experience with something, or especially if you're trying to do like a review, I think it's actually pretty important to try and find these sort of common grounds, even if it is like completely arbitrary in a sense of like, well, if I think Matthew Matosis in one of his videos has a great example where he's like, if you made a review about Sekiro and you were like, how good of a racing game is it? But like you didn't have that conceit, like that could be a funny conceit, like, haha, how are you going to do this as a YouTube video? But if you just started up a Sekiro review and said, well, the cars really fucking suck in this game, it's like, well, they're not really wrong, but like it's not really valuable to anybody. So if you're trying to communicate to a discussion or sort of a common interest or something, but I think even with like how me and Ari do our stuff, like doing the digest, it very much is framed as sort of just what we thought of something, so it's completely different. I don't know, EliteAri, you got anything to say about this? You're just sleeping over there?
I mean, I generally agree with everything you're saying.
He loves me. He loves me. He's jerking me off. Can you believe it? We just argue all the time, but now he agrees with me. Okay, did you have anything to respond? I just wanted to check that you're still alive.
I think that was... It's interesting to me because I almost feel like we land in a very similar place to how we ultimately come to a conclusion where you are judging something in terms of itself, not in terms of you know,
the intent, I
what
guess.
What you expected it to be, what you think it should be. It is just in terms of what it is. And I might come from a different angle, but I think we end up kind of in that similar spot where like, you know, like something like Gunbuster was a good example. It's like something that was you have to accept that it is older. You have to accept that it is establishing conventions, whereas a lot of things that I would have seen before it have kind of developed on them even more. Yeah, you have to be able to take yourself out of your I don't know
your
the
context
bigger picture,
and sort of
the bigger
context
your context, and put it into the context of what it is. And I tend to do that by trying to, and I realize when I like do my media thread, I realize that I say this a lot, where I say this is what it was trying to do, and I thought it was really good at doing it, rather than, you know, this is just how I felt about it. Period. You know, regardless of what it was trying to do. So I think that's a really interesting point that you're pointing out.
Yeah.
I think we kind of still, like I said, end up in the same spot, but the angle we come
I think
from
it's the
is a little
reasons.
different. Yeah.
The reasons of how we get there might be different. Fuck. God damn it, I forgot what I was gonna say. EliteAri, remind me what I was about to say. Go ahead. Shut up. Kill yourself.
I have no idea.
Fuck! It was gonna be
Media
good.
review,
Mia, what did
Twitter
you say right
list.
before the last thing you said? Review, Twitter list. Good idea, EliteAri.
Actually, everything happened.
I was doing so well. I hadn't forgotten anything in like an hour. But there we go. I forgot something. Now I'm completely off. Like I have nothing to say. Save us, Mia. Say something.
Diebuster episode 4.
Ah,
Is this the alien one? Is it the alien one? I love the alien one. That was great.
I think so. Wait, did I have anything to say about episode 3 to change things? So we just had the greatest episode of all time. She's doing a thingy. She wins.
Oh, I never said.
The kids see the snow.
This was the first episode where I was like, you know what? This show's, it's okay. It's not terrible. Because this was the first one where I was like, oh, look at a cute ending with this girl. She's like happy. The kids, that's snowing and stuff. Oh my gosh. So, yep.
Because it was saying something.
Probably, yeah.
True. Wait! Oh, it nearly jump-started my memory. Say that again, Mia.
It was saying something?
It was something about subjectivity, EliteAri. What was I going to say?
Oh, it's you're thinking of the post hoc hypothesis and how everything we consume is purely being articulated through a...
slightly off EliteAri. We differ a little bit there.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that video that Ari made, Mia?
Which
Do you
one?
have any idea what he's talking about? It's the post hoc. It's the Mikasa one, the post hoc hypothesis.
Yes, I love that video.
Yeah, where he sort of says like, "Oh, I want to say I like Mikasa because of this reason," but that's not actually true. And then he said the second thing, and then I agreed with the second thing, but then he said, "Oh, well, that's not true either." And then he got us to the third thing.
Yeah.
So me and Ari differ a little bit. Oh, I was going to talk about being a hypocrite, because there are a million little ways, like. In my perfect world, I should just look at everything individually, but obviously that's impossible. And obviously, basically everything I really like is like something I consider subversive, which has to like iterate on very popular things that I understand and I think the piece understands and that I think the creator of the piece understands for it to have any of its impact, which is what I like about Chainsaw Man, which I know is a controversial thing, EliteAri. And like even like something like Attack on Titan is kind of inherently subversive in that way. I basically had so much fun with this the first time because it was calling back to Gunbuster, and like obviously if I hadn't seen Gunbuster, I don't think I would like have half the experience I did. Though I don't know, this fucking Tycho shit was pretty cool, bro. There's a million things like that where I think I am like in the way I've built out this argument. A lot of the things I enjoy about things are very hypocritical in a sense. So I don't got it all figured out, I think was going to be my point there. But anyway, are we on to episode 4 now? Now that I kind of remembered? Or do we have anything to say about that? EliteAri, reiterate what I said.
Yeah, you're a hypocrite.
True. Kill yourself, EliteAri. Kill yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mia, anything to say, or should we move on to the great episode 4?
We can go to 4.
Now, 4 and 5 blend in my head, EliteAri, so let me see. Oh my god, battery warning, this is crazy. Episode 4. We start. So Taiko's just done her thing. So what do we start on? Who knows? Cassio, I think, does some raping. No. Cassio's not the rape guy, guys. He's just the old perv guy. But Cassio, at the end of the episode, is going to try and be a topless, and Nono's going to get revealed to be super strong. She's going to mumble the thing. All of the creatures are going to be around her like Devilman. It's going to be the coolest moment ever. And it finally happens because we like subverted in the third episode, but then it finally happens in this one, and there's a twist on it because she's actually literally the Buster machine, and she has the kick. Remember when she did that in the first episode? That all makes sense now because she's literally a machine, and instead of the machine being big, the machine was made in the image of man because that's like an Evangelion god thing that they talk about a lot. And I don't know what the princess is doing this episode. EliteAri, did you have something to say?
It's so cool, the alien. I was like, that's the alien. I remember the alien from the other show.
That's the episode where Mining and Titan and the twins are there and they're eating the flesh of it and it smells and it's like, ew, these twins are no good. And then they do the thing and they're like, oh my god, we're going to get eternal life. But then that thing just blasts them out of the fucking stratosphere. And they keep calling it a gravity and fluctuation thingy instead of space kaiju or something. And then I think they realize, what have we been fighting all this time? And then all these idiots start dying, and it's clearly like a mirror to Smith and the gang all dying in that episode. And we haven't really been talking about those mirrors, but at some point Taiko wants to duel Nono, and that's just like Jung wanting to duel Kazumi. And every episode is basically you line them up and the same things kind of happening in each. Because episode 4 of the original show is when the Gunbuster comes out for the first time, as where our Gunbuster comes out for the first. Our Diebuster. No, actually, the Diebuster only comes out in episode 6. But Momo gets revealed in episode 3. Is a little bit of a character thing. Anyway, Mia, you were gonna say something, I think.
Yeah, you mentioned what's the princess up to in this episode, and I think this is where they started doing a little bit of character drama between her and Nono, having them.
She said mean things about her, and she overheard
Yeah,
him. I have a line
them
written
be
down
on
here.
bad terms. I felt like it felt a bit forced and a bit shallow to me. I wasn't very sold.
I think I did get an impression about that, but then I think I was won over by it eventually. Because there's one of the girls says, it's a great line to Nono. She says, "Useless girls should go back to the country and get married." And I was like, oh, that's epic. What a great line. Poor Nono. She was a country girl, but little do they know she's a buster machine, bitch. But that girl probably died. And take that, because they all started dying at the end. But I belly laughed at that line, EliteAri. Did you laugh?
I don't even remember it.
I don't remember that line. Oh my god, I'm a genius. Mia, you were laughing at that line, right?
No, I don't think I laughed the entire time I watched the show.
Oh,
That's
my
awesome.
God,
Oh my god. I love that.
You know, me and Ari were agreeing for too long. Now these two are back against me, Chad. Don't worry, I'll defend the great Momo. Don't worry, I've already said, I've already seen a bunch of compilations on YouTube of all their funny moments, and I'm going to be watching them again. So she's going to make a wacky face. Remember in the last episode where she was like, oh my god, Nono is going to be the Buster Machine pilot. Oh my god, even Nono. And then Tiger comes up and she kicks her and she falls down and she says, fuck off, oh, doo-doo head. They call her doo-doo head. That's hilarious. And she says, I'm going to pilot. Genius. Comedic genius. Anyway, I think you'll make it a real point.
Yeah, well, it's not really a real point. There's types of comedy that makes me laugh out loud, and then there's types of comedy that
There's One Piece comedy right here. We're kicking people.
What?
Isn't Nono just like Luffy, kind of?
Kind of. I mean, okay, there's types of comedy that makes me laugh out loud, and there's kinds that I appreciate and I think it's funny, but I don't laugh. I don't know. I mean, I laugh a lot. I don't know why. This show, the comedy isn't something that makes me like, you know, I lose composure to laugh. You know, it's just kind of like, oh, that was funny, and then I move on. So it didn't stand out to me as a funny show. He just
hates me, chat. Also, I just saw in our Discord, Miller, the great Miller the Killer, complaining that One Piece is going on a 6-month break, just like Mia was before. So that's crazy.
I thought it was good. They should do that.
Yeah, he was like, oh my god, that's wild. But he just wants to shit on the anime. He's like, I knew this anime sucked. And then he's just going to be like, oh, I could catch up. Anyway, true. The comedy is great, Mia. I agree. Anyway, episode 4. Will we say anything more about this? No,
yeah, I thought the end of this episode really woke me up. Like that, I don't know, that like just a lot of people died all of a sudden. I was like, oh, whoa. I had to rewind to make sure we didn't lose anyone I actually cared about, because I don't care about anyone but like the 3 girls pretty much.
There was just nobody. But
I thought it would have been if there was any time to have a Smith-like character where you lose somebody who like you really like. Not that I cared about him, but there was something there, you know. They took the time to set him up, you know.
I knew he was going to die. Smith was going to die either, so it's like, oh.
I thought it was pretty obvious. He seems like the kind of character they introduced just to
Why, you laughing at EliteAri? Laughing at me being stupid?
Did
I laugh?
Did you immediately think?
You chuckled when Mia said it was obvious and said I was a moron, and you laughed and you didn't.
It was accidental. I didn't even consciously realize. But yeah, what was the question?
Did you when Smith was introduced and they're trying to like get you to like get Noriko to connect with him and all that? Did you see it as okay? They're setting up this guy to die for an emotional hook, because that's how I saw it.
I don't think so, but
I do not think.
I don't know. I guess
we win again.
You know what? Kyle would know better than me, because since you re-listened to the discussion, Kyle, did I ever say anything about that?
We talked about Smith for about 2 seconds.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't important to us.
Oh boy.
I think I just went on about poppers and indirect kisses and how cool that was, and we were like, man, he died off screen, and that was sad. And Mia talked about the cosmic horror, I remember. But another thing that's like Evangelion is that somebody's getting fucked up on the other side of like the radio, and you're hearing it, and you're seeing like and everything's shaking, and they're like dying and stuff. Now in Ava, people don't really. Well, sometimes people die.
Remember that end of Evangelion bit? Oh my god.
No, first of all, you're just so wrong, EliteAri. But also, it was epic. And also, she didn't even die. What are you talking about? Well, I guess she didn't. Then
they were yelling on the radio.
But there's... Oh, yes, and it is. And you can hear, because, I forget her name. Oh my god, EliteAri, the greatest shit of all time. But I'm talking about another one in like episode 23 or whatever. That's the saddest moment in anime history. Anyway, people getting fucked up over the radio, and then you see it, and it's like, whoa. you don't see it, and it's like, oh, something's happening over there. This is crazy and scary and stuff. Cockpit and stuff. Anyway. Death and stuff. Mia, were you finished, or was I?
Yeah, pretty much. I felt like if there was a good opportunity to have like an emotional death, I felt like this like sudden almost loss. Like I mean, no brings it back kind of from the brink at the end, but that moment was kind of like crazy. It really, really shook me, and it felt like it had a bigger impact, but. Yeah, I guess nothing. Some characters died. They were named. I checked their names when I was watching, and I was like, okay, I remember one scene from each of you, maybe. But
it also
I
doesn't
don't.
seem like that many people died, because at the end they do take that photo and there's like 3 chairs missing. It's like,
True.
oh,
Yeah, because it seemed like it had like a really big scale to it.
Well, we
and
saw
I felt
like the bodies afterwards,
yeah.
like strapped up. That was pretty cool. But,
True. True.
Even then, I think there was like 4 of them. But yeah, the only person that could have died was Taiko, and she ain't dying, Mia. So you better.
I wouldn't have wanted her to.
True. But yeah, I guess that's episode 4. What a great recap, huh? Nono appears at the end. I can't remember. I guess she just kicks. No. Oh my god, she does the little thing with her hair where one side goes and it's in the shape of the old Space Force thingy from the first show, and one side goes when she points at her in that direction. And then she says, only a fool would want to bust a machine. What you got to understand is that you are a buster machine. And then the thing pops up and it says, buster machine number 7. And everybody's standing and everybody's freaking out. Greatest moment in anime history.
It's a good reveal. It's definitely good.
And she's doing the pose, and she's doing she's the voice acting's good, Anyway, she's got red hair now. It's crazy.
I have a note on episode 4. I was reading through my notes. I said, it feels like episode 4, and then in brackets, the one with the space monster, should have been a movie on its own. There we go. What do we think about that, guys?
No, it was a great episode.
All right. I think it would be a great 1.5-hour movie. There we go. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Well, EliteAri, there is a movie version of Diebuster and Gunbuster.
What about just episode 4 of
Diebuster?
I think it's both in
one movie.
All right.
Well, I'm just trying to help you out here, but you're just making fun of me.
Yep.
As he always does.
It was either episode 4 or 5 of Gunbuster that felt kind of very similar to me. It definitely wasn't 6, but
Well, 4 is
I think it was 5.
Yeah, 5 is when they do that's the coach episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Because also I think they save it for episode 6 where they start double team moving, which is what they did. Well, I guess they did it in 5 and 6 of the original show. Anyway, episode 5. What's happening at the beginning? Oh, episode 5 is the topless. We're getting rid of them. They suck. And they got chains on their head. What do you call those? Those head thingies? They can't rip their thingy off. It's pretty cool.
Wait,
go ahead.
I just realized. I think this is also from episode 4. Now something happens. Okay. Now maybe I'm actually right. This is actually the truth, but I feel like I was completely wrong. No, the ending undermines this. Okay, sorry. When I was watching episode 4, and we saw the alien or whatever, for a second I thought that they had just done the biggest twist of all time, and we were following the same timeline of Gunbuster when they were fighting the aliens, but we were the aliens. We were watching the aliens in like some metaphysical sense where they look like humans, but like they're actually aliens or something. And that's why we dug up this alien that I remember from Gunbuster, and it was all like coming together, but no, it didn't end up being the case. Anyway, sorry.
True.
All right, thank you.
I mean, there's a similar idea there to what the reality is, but we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
There is? Well,
kind of, but not that close. Well, I'll explain later, I guess.
Okay. Episode 5, the topless are banned. We're getting rid of them. And I think at the end of episode 4, that's when Rape Guy lost his stuff. So he's raping this episode. But also, Nono's trying to make little cranes, and that was pretty cool. Because,
that was funny.
You're supposed to... Yes, EliteAri was hilarious. You're supposed to make them and bring them to the people in the hospital, but Nono was getting the gift from the people in the hospital. See, that's comedy. Funny. Now, and at this point, I like it because Taiko is actually Nono's friend. Now, I think this was even in the previous episode. They're all in the pool or something, and then they make fun of Nono, and then she's cleaned the pool, and she's like all by alone some, but then you see no, Taiko's actually there with her, just checking on her a little bit because they're best friends now. But that stupid bitch princess isn't there; she's making fun of her. Now throughout the whole thing, Taiko's just nice to no now because we love Taiko; she's the best character. Now the actual best character, we got No here, and she's the Secret Service are getting her everything she wants. She's the hero of the world. Now, this is kind of a neat parallel to episode 6 where the things are going to swap because No at the end of this episode is going to say, fuck you and leave. It's kind of crazy. Now, I think in this episode, No is also like making a big barrier with her thingies and then she's going to make a big humanoid thing of herself, but then she runs away or something. What else happens in episode 5? Anybody else remember? Oh, this is where we try to throw Jupiter into it, I think. But it doesn't work. And it gets revealed that there's a black hole powering it at its butt. Crazy. True.
I'm sure. Was it this episode or next episode where the reason for it may have been next episode actually, like Nono's connection to what they were fighting this whole time, was that episode 6 or episode 5?
I'm probably at the beginning of 5, like how the space monsters were her the Buster Legion. Oh my god, that's so cool. Is that what you're talking about?
I think so. It was the idea that that they, like, humanity had, especially with the whole topless power thing, they had progressed so much that
they may be the bad guys.
Yeah, they were being recognized as a similar like level threat to the
space monsters. Yeah.
To the space monsters. I thought that was cool, and that was the idea I was talking about, Ari, where I said it was almost a little similar to what you were saying. I thought that was a really neat idea.
But I don't really get it. How are they similar?
So my understanding,
I guess because the fraternity is like corrupt because of the twins.
Nono was developed, Buster Machine 7 developed as kind of like a failsafe in case what happens with Noriko doesn't work out. They need a defense system, and it's Nono and these what they were calling space aliens, but they weren't. But Nono has control over them, right? And that's like the reason they're keeping them in the solar system. It's to protect them, not to really to keep them in. And Nono was developed as that, I guess, the central command for that system. Yeah. But that system, without Nono, since she was basically out of commission, that system was kind of running on like an autopilot, and it's meant to protect humanity from threats as dangerous as the space monsters. And because humanity has progressed to a point where their energy or whatever is almost as developed as those space monsters, now that system is trying to essentially purge them. That's the interpretation I had.
Because they could like break out if they get too much stronger or whatever, and then that could be bad. Or even like because the twins were kind of bad guys, so if they're like telling everybody and suddenly they're like, well, let's attack Mars, fuck Mars, and that could be bad and stuff like that. I had another thing, but I've forgotten again. So just anyway.
One thing I did want to mention, I think this is where I kind of actually understood what like topless was supposed to mean. Like I got the bit, because Nono understood the joke because she just explained it in the first episode. So, but my interpretation of, I'd like to know if I'm wrong on this. The purpose of the whole topless thing is that, Gunbuster, it was like, it was like aim for the top, rise to the top, something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And the idea is that because of how humanity has progressed so much, like there is no top anymore. They just keep going up and progressing more, and that's why the system has turned on them. That was my kind of interpretation of what, besides the bit, what topless.
I think it's just supposed to be like, it's supposed to be like a corruption of like the original ideal of like Coach picked Noriko because she had like the ability to work hard or whatever, and like this is just like, oh, your natural ability dictates that you have this much power, and like therefore you get to power the machines because you're the smartest and the coolest or whatever, rather than actually being like the most worthy. But it could be like, oh yeah, they keep like progressing to the point where like, oh, we're expanding and expanding, and we've just got to get bigger and bigger and more Buster machines and stronger and stronger.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
then they kind of are weaker than like the first Buster machines are way stronger than these ones. So, but I guess that could be
That's
reflected in
true.
like, oh, they're losing their way. Wait, what'd you say?
Yeah, I agreed. I said that's true. I didn't really think
I thought you
about
said
that.
that's not true. I was like, what?
No, yeah, I definitely never got. I don't know. I mean, what I feel like Noriko was like the standout, in terms of like ability in Gunbuster, and I think Lauk
But she
had
sucked at
some
the beginning, right?
crazy feat. Well, yeah, of course she sucked at the beginning, but like by the end game of it, like she was clearly like her and Gunbuster were clearly like the pinnacle, you know. And yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of agree. I don't think anybody
Well, that's
here
because she
but
did that cool
No.
montage, you know? She was
Yeah,
on it.
I don't think anybody here but No really sold me on the fact that they were stronger than that. That is a good point. Though Lauk did do some crazy stuff, some cool stuff, but didn't she like move a planet or something?
Well, yeah, I guess towards the end they're both kind of really strong, but
Yeah.
but they's like, isn't this just supposed to be like? Well, I guess it's one with a black hole, but it is just one of them, and like Gunbuster 1 was killing billions of them at once, right? So I don't know,
Mm.
but I don't know. How do we power scale the great Gunbuster / Diebuster? Could one Noriko beat this space monster? Well, I guess they beat it the same way, right? They just black hole it. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
They're on par. Crazy.
on the topless ability too. I think one thing in episode 1 that stood out to me was like kind of how she like partially summoned it, and that's why I said the thing like, oh, it's like a JoJo stand. Like it's rather than piloting it, it's almost like it is
A psychic
a psychic companion-ish kind of thing, you know. And I felt like that aspect of it kind of didn't really play into it much going forward. I don't really remember any other scenes where it was like a partial manifestation of it, where she's, you know,
Wait, no, she
utilizing.
does that all the time, right?
Does she really? Maybe I just
Yeah, I
wasn't paying
think
enough
so. She
attention
like
to her.
grabs things and like she makes it appear just by ripping it off in episode 2 when
That
she's in the when she's under
yeah,
arrest.
I do remember those more, like making it appear in full. But
Well,
to
yeah,
me, it almost felt more like calling it to her rather than, I don't know,
yeah.
being fully integrated with it in the way that I thought they would do it. But I don't know, maybe they didn't. I'm just bad at watching the show.
They definitely do play up the like the Buster machines are real. Now, I think they maybe did this in Gunbuster. I can't remember. I only watched it once. But I think at some point they make an allusion to like, oh, is Gunbuster alive type thing. But in this, like, they're just like, oh yes, all the Buster machines are alive. You need like a spirit in it, which is very Evangelion. Because like she's like, oh, I can't hear Dick's Nicks anymore. But then she does, and she crawls through it, and it's obviously cognizant because it pulls the horn out of it so it can get to the original cockpit, etc. Which is more interesting because, yeah, if it has like a will of its own, yeah, because like Dick's Nicks was doing what Momo wanted rather than what the princess wanted all the time. So I guess they do have a mind of their own, but that's not really them summoning. But I'm almost certain she just summons like the hand a bunch of times just to do something. But I don't fucking know. I don't know. I could be wrong. Were you making a bigger point, Mia, or did I forget something?
No, I think I got to conclude it.
No, we were talking about episode 5 or something.
Yeah, I went off on a tangent about what topless means, and
oh yeah. I remember that. They also obviously this episode opens with the No Riri Ko thing, and then
that was peak. Yeah, that was good.
The Jupiter into the bloke, and it didn't do anything. And then they're like, oh my god, together we can do it. There's no going back. And then No runs away, and we're like, oh no, she betrayed us. Terrible. Obviously she's coming back, but I think it's kind of interesting because in retrospect you realize, oh, she realized that she like has to kamikaze this thing, and she sort of wants to go and do some more things before she kamikazes it. I think this is also the episode where we see a bunch of them being like roommates and like watching TV, and like the princess is acting like she hates lecturing her about the birds, but then when she's gone, she's like so miserable, and you know, what a Kyle Entertainment thing to do, you know. Hashtag relatable. And she misses her, and then she has to do her own laundry, brushing her teeth and stuff, and and Taiko's there because she's the best, and they're talking about stuff. All great scenes, I think. But yeah, I think that's episode 5. EliteAri, give us all your great episode 5
So, I
notes.
got one note on episode 5, and it says, wait, what the fuck? This whole time I thought they were saying Canadians, but it's Candians or something.
True!
Yeah.
True! But they were saying Candians or something.
Yep.
I still don't remember what that means. But I was like, oh, because at the beginning they say that, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, maybe she's from Canada,
Yeah,
it's cold up there.
exactly.
I saw X-Men. I love Wolverine. He was in the snow in the beginning of that movie, but no, it was Mars, you idiot. What does Candian mean? Is that some space thing?
I have no idea.
We'll never know.
It's not
You know what
Canadian.
Candian means?
I'm not Canadian. I don't know what a can.
That idiot.
I didn't remember saying any of their. I mean, I remember the word being. I didn't interpret it as or hear it as Canadian. I certainly did not.
Yeah, because it's just yeah, it's just because.
But I also have zero thoughts on the word as a whole.
All right, that's good to hear.
Well, then we get to the final. My goodness, oh my god, is the audio different EliteAri? Everybody's shocked Pikachu facing right now. Episode 6. Now, what does episode 6 start with? I think it starts with something wacky, right? Oh, I think it does. It start with the princess back on Mars with the old man and the dog, and he was punching the dog, and it fell off the roof again. That was crazy. Actually, I think that's like halfway through. What does it open with, EliteAri? Let us know.
Well, my first note says, in all capital letters with exclamation marks at the end, "Watashi no Papa" music. So I don't know, maybe that.
God damn it. We gotta know these goddamn things. EliteAri, you're on the computer, tab over.
All right.
Well,
all right, so it opens up with let's have a look. There's cars in space. She's the president, and she's got Secret Service.
Yes, the Secret Service. They're on her side now because they're mirroring the last episode where they're all on Momo's side, and then she goes to meet the frog people from Cowboy Bebop. We already talked about that. Yep. But the whole show, they're kind of building up Lunar Tokyo as they're like, oh, that's like the main place. Well, I guess they say Earth is like the main place, but Nono's never been there, and there's big space. They go out to Pluto. Oh my God, we barely talked about Cassio trying to be an old man and be a thingy, but then he does a thingy, but then he's still a bro afterwards. And also we see the moon sequence, and then he realizes that the Buster machine they sent Nono to is like broken and stuff, and then all the cool shit happens. Anyway, that was cool. And then so the princess is going everywhere, meeting all her friends, taking photos, doing whatever she wants. She wants to go and see what Nono's like. They talk more about Noriko, and she was just a simple Japanese girl apparently, but she's just like I think they talk about gods again there. There was something thematic going on there. And then eventually we're gonna fire the Earth, EliteAri.
Yeah.
The microphone over. I cleaned up my water bottle over, and I was going to get really mad, but it was just the microphone, guys. I don't have to clean up water right now. They're going to fire the Earth into it, EliteAri, because that's like symbolic and stuff, and it's cool. And also, it's big. It's the biggest planet you can throw at it, because Jupiter didn't work, but it was just the core, so it was probably small. But the Earth is super big, so if you do it, it's going to win.
Yep.
Were you like, no, not the Earth? That's where we live.
No, I was like, oh, I don't care about the Earth, because Earth is a people, not a place or whatever. That's what the Avengers told me.
No, I was like, oh, that's sad. You can't get rid of the Earth. But then I was like, wait, that's kind of cool thematically. We're making a statement. We're moving on from the Earth. We've colonized the whole world. And, fuck the Earth. But then the great Noriko, no. Everybody calm down. The great No shows up and says, no. That was a genius joke. I wrote that on the fly. And she puts the Earth back in the place. I don't know. You probably have to put it right back in the right place, right? Otherwise, everything gets fucked up.
Yeah,
anyway, otherwise, yeah. Did the moon go with it? But No did land on the moon and make a whole crater in it, and that came back at the very end. That was great. But anyway, then they get into a fight, and she says, "I'm not Oni-sama," punch, and they punch in the head, and that was pretty cool. And then she loses her power, but then I feel like we've talked about all this. Anything we haven't talked about that we got to talk about. All the imagery was super cool when she makes the black hole in her hand, though she's done that before. Oh, and when it shows on her hand, like she makes a bunch of code, and the code like goes on her hand, and then it creates a black hole. It looks really cool. Cool particle effects there and stuff like that. And and she can warp, but this thing can also warp, and that's like crazy because we haven't been warping the whole time. And then truly they do the double or the super Inazuma kick together, and then they do super Buster beam, and then Buster something else, and then something else, and then they split it, and it's all great and dandy. And I've never seen a greater final battle in my whole life.
Actually, in Gunbuster, it was way better. That's Ymir.
Oh my god, you're actually right, because I was going to say one thing when I think about Gunbuster, one of the things I feel like was core to it, to that experience for me at least, was the feeling of that last episode and how just like, I don't know, alien everything felt to me, like with the black and white, and we've jumped to the future, there's technology we haven't seen before.
True,
and
it
we're
wasn't
not
black and
talking
white.
about it. What?
It wasn't black and white,
okay.
which was interesting. I half expected it, but it wasn't.
Oh, okay, you're saying Diebuster wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that obviously it doesn't have to do the same thing that Gunbuster did in all ways, you know. That was one thing I felt like was core to like the feeling of how Gunbuster ended to me, just how distant it all felt by the end. But that being said, I wanted to get that out of the way, like the stuff I didn't like, because what I really liked here is how I feel like this episode contextualized the whole thing in a meta sense too, that the whole purpose of Diebuster is to remember Gunbuster. And the fact that it's an anniversary project, like you mentioned, that makes so much sense because, you know, you have, like you said, Lauk going to the old cockpit of the Buster machine. You have them about to throw the Earth away, and then no stopping that and saying no, it's like important to keep it, and then ending
because
with
Noriko's got to come back. I thought she was just like, no, the Earth is cool, but obviously that's the reason.
And then ending with the lights. It's the whole thing is a process of valuing Gunbuster, valuing what's come before, regardless of you know, how far we have come. It's important to remember, and I think that made this ending pretty good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's just great, you know. EliteAri, your turn.
There's a time skip.
Final fight was
older,
bad.
just like
no, we're not
Gunbuster.
talking about that. We already talked
All right,
about that.
let me read out my second note. Okay, episode 6, second note, just in normal case. Okay, this time. Watashi no Papa music again! Exclamation mark.
He just needs better examples. Come on now. But I believe it. I don't think he's lying to me. Is that all your notes?
Yeah, it is. Well, I already talked about my last one about how the ending's bad. But yeah.
Ending's the best.
See, I've come to like it as we talked. Because all that stuff about remembering Gunbuster, I only thought about it as we were going through now.
Yeah.
Maybe I like Diebuster. I might like Diebuster.
So, Lee, are you going to bump up that 2 out of 5 to a 3 out of 5, okay?
I think all this discussion has done has made me realize how little of the show I actually consumed somehow. I need to go back and rewatch it. Out of anything I've ever watched, I think this is the one thing where I'm just truly baffled at the amount of stuff that just went over my head somehow. Yep.
You're going to sit there, you're going to watch episode 3, you're going to sit there, your mouth agape. You're going to be like, this is the greatest singular episode in anime history, Alita. That's what you're going to say.
You know what? It was actually the first good one, so it's possible it could be elevated next time even further.
The best one. Now, something I lightly brought up earlier that I want reassurance on because nobody reacted when I said it earlier. The new cockpit, they sit on this very phallic looking thing. Do we agree on this, or am I thinking about things?
I do not remember what the cockpit looks like.
So they're literally sitting on a dick. It just looks like it, and like they're like grinding on it as they move. And there's one time both her and Nono are on it, and she's like, "No, get your fat ass out of the way."
True.
I'm just telling you, it's phallic looking. That's all I was thinking. And then the original cockpit was epic. Now, also, it's called a fucking cockpit, if you can believe it. Now, I don't know if that's another topless joke, but, you know, if they are, you know, this anime's on another level. Now, God, I remember when she went up there. I remember when she got naked, but she just lost her topless powers, so she just turned 18, is what I'm going to believe. So it was okay to ogle the princess when she got naked that one time, because that was pretty hot. And then she took her panties off like that. I don't know. It was a little weird.
I cannot believe that logic train you just went on. That was incredible.
She turned 18. I'm a genius.
Guys, she must have turned 18 in that very millisecond.
No. It was a few moments earlier. It was her 18th birthday.
Wow.
She had to fire the Earth into the thingy on her 18th birthday. Now, that's not even a time dilation excuse for this one. Or you can be like, well, actually, Noriko's like 70,000 years old, brother. She is at the end of the show. Yeah. Amen. Now, and then she put the other thingy on. It was epic.
Oh.
She was so cool.
I just remembered something.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
About Nono and the whole thing about remembering Gunbuster or whatever. How she has this ridiculously powerful, like the giant kind of form, but she ultimately ends it like as herself. Again, again, it's that like I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Like immense power versus remembering the self, remembering what's important. I fucked with that. It was cool.
Yeah, because she does do a big form, but then it just gets beat up. It was kind of cool. But yeah, and it's also sort of like they had to work together to do it, which is similar. They weren't in the same machine like Kazumi and Noriko, but it was kind of similar. But yeah. Remember Miller said it ruined the whole thing because she died. And you retort to that, EliteAri?
I don't think she did die.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, EliteAri, you don't want to talk about that now?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah, so
talk about that.
If anything, I think everything you guys have said have just confirmed to me that I don't think she died, right? She just she went into another plane of existence, right? Like Madoka.
well,
like, did
okay,
Madoka die?
whatever.
I don't think so. I think she like turned into a little spiritual thing.
No, but we also saw her afterwards coming down from heaven with Sayaka and the gang to pick up that devil girl. Homura, I remember her name.
Mhm.
That's true. I guess what you consider death. Yeah, I mean, some universal level stuff, happened there. Whatever happened to her is not something I think we can even interpret or understand.
Yeah, I think she's with like Noriko's dad right now. I think they're together.
Yeah.
True. Well, thanks for clearing that up, EliteAri.
Mm-hmm.
You were gonna destroy Miller the Killer with facts and logic, I think, before EliteAri piped up.
So he is saying not that the ending of this ruins the ending of Gunbuster. He's saying that
that it just ruins the point of Diebuster in and of itself.
I don't think so. I think it would have felt kind of the same either way. I personally, I didn't like when Nono is gone and you see the paper crane. I was like, that's cute, but I didn't really.
A paper crane. EliteAri.
I wasn't like I don't think I cried watching this. I think I did cry.
No,
at the end of Gunbuster when the lights came on, but I did not.
But it was even cooler this time. I made a vow recently, Mir. You probably didn't see this, but I vowed to EliteAri that I'll never cry at a piece of shit media thing ever again.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be funny when it doesn't happen. But I'm telling you, the second watching of that episode 3, it was like, but it didn't happen. Anyway, Miller was being stupid. EliteAri, you want to beat up Miller or something?
When Miller's right, he's right. When Miller's wrong, he's wrong. In this case, he's, I guess, on my side a little bit, so he's right, and we love him.
Okay. Well, I guess Miller's point is like, thematically, they're supposed to work together and win in the end, but they worked together and still had to self-sacrifice because they both did try to self-sacrifice, I think, in that climax. But I don't know. He's just reading into a thematic thing that wasn't there. Destroyed.
He doesn't realize themes don't matter.
Huh?
He said he does. I said he doesn't realize themes don't matter.
True. Coming from the Vinland Saga guy, I don't know how we feel about that. But EliteAri, you got any miscellaneous notes, or are we wrapping things up here?
All right, let me quickly look through my notes here. Is there anything? No, that's my Mushoku Tensei notes. All right, here we go. I got nothing.
Rudy's Grey Rat, he's just my favorite character, and then he fucking died at the end, or he went back to his own world and got his life in order.
No, I don't have any more notes. Yep.
I just bought you time, EliteAri. Did you see that?
Wait, for what? I don't have any notes.
Don't worry.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, just trying to wrap things up here. You're just gonna interrupt me. So anyway, Gunbuster, trash. Diebuster, greatest anime of all time. And I think these two, they said the exact opposite. Can you believe that? It does seem to me that the internet is vaguely on your side. I've seen a lot of love for the Diebuster ending, but I think a lot of people don't like how it looks because there's a lot of like old school, we like old anime here. We like the great 1988 and not modern anime trash. The opinion I was supposed to have. It seems like a lot of people feel that way, and that's why they don't like it. But everybody's wrong but me.
Well, I think your
Would you like-
positivity kind of rubbed off on me. I definitely.
True.
Yeah.
I gaslit him.
It's easier for me to think through it thematically too, while I'm trying to explain my thought process. So I think I've developed a bigger appreciation for it.
Same with you, right, EliteAri? You love it now too?
No, not it. No, I don't think my opinion has just. My conviction has gone weaker and weaker for my opinion. I guess that's all that's happened here.
Once upon a time, Mia, I might have had that impact on EliteAri, but he's too dug in now. He's just fed up with me. He will never be convinced by me ever again. Anyway, I guess the only other thing to discuss is, EliteAri, there's like a 6-episode show, that's kind of in this chronology that we kind of skipped over that, would be pretty ideal to do
What,
next.
the science lessons?
No. It's starts with an F, followed by an L, followed by a C, followed by an L.
Oh, fully coolly. Oh my god. What a show. Okay. Wait, how is it related to the chronology?
Well, it's
the
show
the
between
meta.
these-
I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the director. There's a bunch of references. Everybody says, "Oh
I guess
my
it
god,
takes place on
Diebuster is
Earth,
just
too.
too fully coolio."
Yeah. Okay.
True, and they have cigarettes.
I
That's not
have not seen it, and that is on my list, so I would totally watch that.
True. Now, EliteAri, Mia, I'm sure we brought this up at some point. EliteAri hates Fully Cooley. He thinks it's like terrible. He's
I've
like,
watched
how
it
does
twice.
everybody get anything from this? Yeah, he watched it twice just to try
one
and get
sub,
it. He was
one
like, I
dub.
still don't
Yeah.
get like. From what I understand, it's very abstract, and maybe EliteAri's just not
That's
smart
not true.
enough. But
No.
you and me, Mia, yeah, we're on a higher stratosphere.
I'll watch it a third time.
There's also another show, EliteAri, that you've also seen that we might have
Demon Slayer.
referenced a few times here that Mia hasn't seen that is kind of in this chronology that would be
Shokutensei?
super duper epic to do again. Mia, do you know what I'm talking about here? Do you have an inkling? Maybe.
I mean, I think if anything is evident from all these discussions that I really should be watching Eva right about now.
Neon
but-
Genesis Evangelion. Oh my
Wow.
god, we could do. Comment below, chat. Tell us what you want to see next. Fully Cooley is short, Evangelion is long, and we would be doing the rebuilds too. So that's kind of an investment. So and we got to get our times all lined up to be able to record. So there's some things then in the way of that happening. But maybe we'll do the Great Razathon.
Yeah, whichever
Probably
comment
not.
down below gets the most upvotes. I'm sure Kyle will decide that that's
I'm
the
not
thing.
committing to that. We'll take whatever comment there is in consideration. Me and EliteAri were supposed to do Bochi and the Rock before we did Gunbuster, but that never happened either. So anyway, we'll decide. I'm sure we'll inform the people on streams, on tweets, various and the such. But I think I'm ending it. Anybody, speak now or forever hold your peace, you two. Diebuster. That's what you're supposed to say.
Diebuster. Perfect.
Genius. Support links in the description below. Go ahead, EliteAri.
Thanks.
Thank you.